because he should already be fused with Kami by this point, since Dende is the new guardian of Earth. This movie makes absolutely no sense, but I'm gonna find a way to make it work, because I am a man of the people. Where do I even begin? What if Piccolo just kills Cell? Just throwing that out there. Now I know what you're thinking. What about the androids? What if Krillin just killed Gero before he entered the lab and, you know, did his job? You have the Kienzan, man. Why are you folded? Or better yet, what if Piccolo kills Gero before he can even reach his lab? Because they do fight. Piccolo was getting ready to pack him up, but then that's when Bulma and Trunks and Yajirobe came in and messed up everything. How about in this timeline, Piccolo just doesn't get distracted and one-shots him? Then 16, 17, and 18 never get awakened. That's the androids taken care of. Now we just gotta worry about Cell. How do we get around this? Piccolo still probably decides to fuse with Kami. That's the whole reason why he did fuse with Kami. And then they could just jump him, right? Just gang up on him and take him out. It's not like he could absorb 17 and 18. He doesn't know where the androids are. And even if he does, the lab would have already been destroyed. Would Cell know where Gero's lab is? I feel like I'm starting to talk myself out of it now. This is the only world where I can see this movie happening. A world where the androids are already taken care of, Cell is already taken care of. Kami being fused with Piccolo gives him a reason to have to look for a new guardian of Earth. It's just kind of moved up the timeline a little bit. The hyperbolic time chamber wouldn't be necessary anymore because Cell is already defeated. And then Trunks probably would have just went home because, you know, there's nothing really left for him to do anymore. I don't really know what this means for his timeline because he wouldn't get any of that training from the time chamber. But Trunks could always come back, I guess. Maybe he never even went home. Maybe he just stayed back on Earth with Bulma and had like mother-son bonding time while everyone else was off doing this other side quest. That's so adorable. Honestly, I can really get on board with this timeline where Piccolo is the main character. Going back to the movie now, I guess the only reason why he never helps Goku and Vegeta fight Cooler in this movie, despite being the current strongest warrior, is because he's busy focusing all of his efforts on destroying the Big Getty Star instead. Hey, no matter how you slice it, no matter what timeline this movie takes place in, Piccolo's roles in these movies are underrated. This one is a little bit better, still kind of hard, but a lot easier to wrap my head around because, well, first, Dende is nowhere to be found. And secondly, because we actually get a flashback in this movie of Android 17 killing Dr. Gero, giving us an exact point in the timeline where this is meant to take place. I say exact, but not really. There's still a couple red flags in this movie. First of all, we gotta address what happens to 16, 17, and 18. Because they're already awake. There was plenty of downtime around this time in the actual story with everyone still kind of recovering from the androids awakening and stuff, getting bullied by 18. It could make sense if they were still traveling the world looking for Goku, but then that wouldn't make sense because Goku should still be in a coma. He would have no time to do this movie because immediately as soon as he wakes up, he of course teleports to wherever Vegeta was and Trunks was, and then they immediately go into the time chamber. It also can't happen while he's waiting for his turn in the time chamber because, well, Vegeta and Trunks are in this movie. One route we could go is if Piccolo, after fusing with Kami, once again has this main character moment, somehow taking out all 3 of the androids before Goku wakes up. But this is a little bit unrealistic, just because, you know, even after the massive power-up, Piccolo was still only like just about even with 17 when they fought, and even then he still had disadvantage because of the whole infinite stamina thing. Assuming that he could defeat him plus 16 and 18 as well, yeah, no. To me, the only way this movie can work is in a timeline where Cell doesn't show up. Maybe this is the alternate timeline where Trunks kills Cell before he can steal his time machine. Maybe Gero never conceives Cell at all. Either way, if Cell never shows up, not only does it give the Z Fighters plenty of time to figure out some way to deal with the androids, maybe Piccolo and Kami still fuse just for the sake of the power-up, and then we got a Super Namekian and like, what, 3 Super Saiyans all fighting against the androids? I feel like they could do it. They still can't use the time chamber because Trunks and Gohan will be aged up in this movie if they did. But again, if they just all work together, I don't feel like they need the time chamber. This movie could easily happen in the week or so following the defeat of the android, right before Trunks is about to go back home, kind of just hanging out, going on lunch dates and shit. Maybe Android 13 replaces Cell in this timeline. I mean, they do have some similarities. I still don't know what this means for Trunks going back to his timeline. I mean, he can still train with Vegeta or Goku before he goes back, I guess. The popular theory for this movie for years has always been that it takes place during that 10-day rest period before the start of the Cell games. It's definitely post-time chamber because Gohan is a Super Saiyan here, and we also have peak Future Trunks era. If you want to go with that, that's cool, but honestly, to me, I've always thought that this was way too big of a conflict to merely just be some sort of warm-up for the Cell games, right? Don't even start with me with the perfect Cell versus Broly debate. Like, I know a lot can happen in a short period of time. Just look at Dragon Ball Super, the warm-up for the Cell games, right? Don't even start with me with the perfect Cell versus Broly debate. Like, I know a lot can happen in a short period of time. Just look at Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball Daima. But come on, man. What if Vegeta or Krillin actually did their job in the Android arc and kept Cell from achieving his perfect form? Even if you gotta blow up 18, it's okay, Krillin. You can still get married. You can just wish her back with the Dragon Balls and blame it all on Vegeta. And then, because the Cell games won't be happening, this movie can be instead where Goku and Gohan get to show their gains from the time chamber. I mean, it would explain why they're just having this random picnic at the beginning of the movie in celebration for defeating Cell, right? It would also explain why Goku and Chi-Chi have enough spare time to try and get Gohan into this prestigious preparatory school. During that 10-day period before the Cell games, that whole time was meant to be purely for just resting. Gohan can still get Super Saiyan 2 eventually. In fact, they skip between the end of the Cell arc and the start of the Buu arc. Goku's dead in this movie. Gohan has access to Super Saiyan 2. Bojack Seal only came undone in this movie because King Kai's planet was destroyed. Specifically, not too long after Cell's defeat, because Goku and King Kai are shown still clearly traveling down Snake Way in this movie. This would have to happen before they reach the check-in station, which is where they then get invited to the Other World Tournament. Now, at the end of the Cell arc, Trunks did leave like the very next day to go back to the future and finally defeat the androids in his timeline. But in the manga, we can clearly see that he's planning to go back to the past once again to spread the good news, which is when Cell attacks, right? Even though time passes in Trunks' time, it might have only been like the next day or so in the present time when he came back to visit them, which is when the events of this movie can take place. I feel like this movie has to happen after Vegeta's final explosion, because it would be the only explanation as to why he doesn't show up here. Ain't no way Vegeta's ignoring Broly's presence. But then if that was the case, then Goku would still be here because he wouldn't need to use Super Saiyan 3 and burn up all his time. This movie is also clearly meant to be a direct sequel to movie 8, so according to my logic, that then gets problematic because, well, in this timeline, Goku doesn't get blown up by Cell in the first place. Maybe this is the timeline where Broly actually does happen in the 10 days before the Cell games, and everything still happens as it does up until the Buu arc, but then Babidi ends up resealing Buu before he can punch his face off. I think we might be onto something. What if Babidi just did the spell real quick before Buu, you know, yoked him up and shit? It's probably just a couple of words. I'm sure it's like a real quick thing. Vegeta would have been dead and Goku would have already went back to Otherworld. Once Goku returns to Otherworld, he can let Gohan know that Buu is already taken care of, and knowing Gohan's personality, we'll probably look at his Z-Sword training and just completely chalk it and just go back to his normal life. Then, after the 4-month wait from Bulma accidentally using the Dragon Balls in the Buu arc to revive the people Vegeta killed, Goten, Trunks, and Videl can then go looking for the Dragon Balls once again to revive Vegeta, which is how we get to this movie. This would also serve to explain why Goten and Trunks don't know fusion in this movie, because Goku left before he could teach them. But it's okay because Buu was dead anyway. It's another what-if timeline. I'm sorry, but let's be real. In 2025, the Dragon Ball timeline is basically SpongeBob's brain that one time when he threw out his own name. The only thing left that still doesn't quite make sense about this movie is the fact that Piccolo doesn't show up. Oh, yo. Now I'm thinking about it. And especially because he never finishes his training on the Kai's planet. We all know how he feels about Gohan being able to defend the Earth when Goku and Vegeta are gone. I could totally see Piccolo treating this whole thing as just training. So yeah. He purposefully abstained from the fight against Broly. Not because he was ducking the fade, but as a means of prepping Gohan for being the defender of the Earth. Yeah, let's go with that. This one is a lot easier because it's just a direct sequel to Broly's Second Coming. Probably like not too long afterwards even. Goku and Vegeta are still dead. Maybe they had to wait another 4 months or so to try and revive Vegeta, because Shenron did technically grant a wish in the last movie, even though that doesn't make any sense, but that's a different video for a different day. Goten and Trunks still wouldn't know fusion because Goku's been dead. And that one little side plot of Android 18 trying to get her money from Satan for throwing the tournament finals, that would also make sense because, again, everything in the Buu arc happens normally up until the point where Buu kills Babidi. Why isn't Gohan in this movie? I don't know. Maybe Piccolo is training Goten and Trunks too. Hey, you can't tell me that this isn't something he would totally do. Plus, you know, things go south, 18 is right there anyway. She's at least as strong as Piccolo. Probably even SSJ Gohan, depending on how much weaker he's truly gotten over the time skip. At first, I wanted to say that this movie was a sequel to Bio Broly, you know, just to complete that trilogy. The problem with that is that Goten and Trunks no fusion. So, unfortunately, we can't continue with the whole Buu getting resealed timeline because Goku has to teach the boys how to fuse. With that being said, I mean, this got to be the timeline where Gotenks actually locks in and kills Buu, right? Before he defuses this time. Maybe Gohan finishes his training, maybe he doesn't. He never releases any of his aura in this movie, so there's kind of really no way to tell. We'll leave it up for interpretation. This, Cooler's Revenge, and BoJack Unbound gotta be the easiest movies to canonize because they all take place after big battles during time skips. Everyone is present in this movie, which tells me that this has to happen after the battle with Buu. Goten and Trunks are fusing, Gohan is in his ultimate form, and both Vegeta and Goku are alive and well. The only slight issue with this movie nowadays, though, is where does this take place in relation to Dragon Ball Daima? Because, you know, Super Saiyan 4 and all that. Daima takes place 1 year after Buu is defeated. Plenty of time for this evil warlock from some faraway planet to show up on Earth trying to awaken this ancient demon. Looking back on it now, this movie serves as a great teaser, actually, for magic and the entire demon world. There's demon arts all over this movie. It's aged really well, and this movie was already one of my favorites when I was a kid, before Daima or Super even existed. The final movie before the Renaissance. Just like all the other OG Dragon Ball movies for some reason, it's another retelling. Basically combining the Pilaf arc and the Red Ribbon Army arc into one giant 80-minute movie to celebrate 10 years of the Dragon Ball anime at the time. And now we're approaching the 40-year anniversary. Yes, we have 3 different versions of Goku meeting Bulma. 4 if you count the manga. I've always thought this was a GT movie. Goku is literally wearing his GT gi in this movie. All the people that worked on GT clearly worked on this. Everybody's always yapping about how GT should take place in its own separate timeline now that Super is a thing. So I don't see a reason as to why this can't be how Dragon Ball starts in the GT timeline. You get me? There's a few complications with combining these 2 arcs. For example, this movie skips over the 21st Tournament arc entirely, which means no Krillin or Launch. General Tao is also omitted from this, which means Goku never meets Appa or Bora or drinks the divine water. Nobody like that Deus Ex Machina bullshit anyway. Appa does show up in GT. Goku could always meet him another way on some different adventure, right? He's always looking for the 4-star ball. As for Korin, because, you know, Roshi could theoretically at any point send Goku to climb the tower for training, though, just like he did way back when. And then the 21st Tournament can just happen after this movie. They don't exactly tell us what year this movie takes place. Krillin can always just pull up after this, and then he and Goku can go train. And yeah, and then from here, the rest of the story can happen as it does in the original story all the way up until GT. At the end, Goku wears an adult-sized version of the same exact gi he wore as a kid. Everything comes full circle. We love to see it. Let me know what ideas you guys have for these movies. Let me know how wrong I was. See y'all in the next one. If it's me, I apologize. I'm just high. So sometimes I'll just emphasize. I'm just shy.
Is Joel trying to beat me in terms of weirdest death messages? Because I actually think he's succeeding. Oh, no, he's gone back to the boring ones. Okay, I'm safe. Welcome back to Hermitcraft Season 10. Hope you're all doing well. That is an incredible build. Those balloons are the best things I've ever seen in my entire life. Why is Scar my neighbour? I really do love the guy. Like, he's a fantastic chap. But everything that he makes is breathtakingly beautiful. And that's awesome. Unless you live next door and exist in direct comparison to him. I mean, imagine having Scar as your right-hand neighbour, Joel as your left-hand neighbour, and then B00 as your front-hand neighbour. I'm trying my best. I really am. Anyway, in today's Hermitcraft episode, we're not going to be doing any of that building stuff. We're going to be back working on the industrial district. In the previous Hermitcraft episode, we built up this enormous sugarcane farm, and I've got a few things that I need to mention about this before we begin. I got quite a large number of comments telling me I was stupid for using sand and that I should have just used dirt for the sugarcane farm because sugarcane does not grow faster on sand. And I'm very aware of this fact. I am very aware of the fact that what you place the sugarcane on does not affect the growth rates. I just prefer the look of sand. I hate the look of a sugarcane farm that is made of dirt. I would much rather have this texture. Now, it also turns out when you place a water source on a slab here and then a water source on a slab here, they will actually create an infinite water source as long as there are blocks underneath the slab. That I actually didn't know. And finally, the most embarrassing one. Yeah, I got the crafting recipe for paper wrong, but I'm going to make it okay with a bit of a flex. You see, when it comes to Hermitcraft farms, and especially industrial district farms, they produce so many items that I don't need to even know the crafting output of any specific crafting recipe, because I have so many items that it doesn't even make a difference. And on that note, it is time for us to make our new farm. And that, of course, is a gigantic bamboo farm. I mentioned it in the previous Hermitcraft episode, I want to make a gigantic bamboo farm because with the crafter, that is just a fantastic way to get an incredibly large number of planks. Now, I want this thing to be absolutely massive and be hooked up to an automatic crafter with various different options for how I want the bamboo to be crafted. It seems like a really fun and interesting project, but there is an incredibly boring part to do. I mean, it wasn't boring last time I did it, but that is the problem. The way that you build up a bamboo farm is basically exactly how you build up a sugarcane farm. So I've got a lot of slabs, a lot of rails, a lot of dirt, and a lot of bamboo to place. Is Joel trying to do the strangest advertising campaign of all time? I mean, it's probably working. I've never thought about Joel so much in my entire life. I think it's time I do a bit of a time lapse so that you can't see my chat. And the whole process of building this thing went incredibly smoothly. I guess because it was in recent memory, given that I had just built the sugarcane farm, this bamboo farm went up like a breeze. Now, in terms of the dimensions, as I was planning this thing out, I started to think, what would be the simplest way of doing this? And the main complexity with these farms, although they are really quite simple, the main complexity comes with the flying machines. And I worked out that the largest flying machine that we could possibly have is 20 blocks across, so I based the size of the farm on that. So this thing is 20 blocks wide, it goes the full length of the industrial district, or around about. I have no clue what the dimensions are, but I'm sure someone can work them out. That large amounts of area covered in either rails, dirt, or bamboo. But as I say, all of this is the easy stuff. The main issue that I have to deal with is getting items out of the farm. You see, this farm produces a ridiculous quantity of items. I mean, obviously bamboo can grow incredibly tall, so with the first sweep of this thing, 100% all of the hopper mine carts are going to get filled out. All of those items need to get out of the farm somehow, and then also we then need to keep up with the demands of the bamboo farm itself, which I imagine should be fine for the hopper mine carts to deal with, but still, there are 20 rows of hoppers that are outputting items here. That is so many items. And to be honest with you, it's led me to do some thinking. Oh my goodness, it is now the next morning. Joel is back at it again. I'm going to make the assumption that this is to do with Ravager Rush or some form of minigame on the server. I will be checking it out. It sounds hilarious. It also sounds like a challenging time. But anyway, this thinking that I've been doing. You see, we've got a lot of items being outputted here. This was running just while I was doing the bits of testing. This is probably more bamboo than I'll ever need. I think it would be smart if we actually segment all of the item output to do different things. So we've got the crafters. if we use crafters to make planks out of 90% of this, because I think that's the majority of what I'm going to be using this farm for. If we do that, that will make my life quite simple, and then we'll have a little section that just turns them into bamboo blocks for decoration. I like the way they look. And then maybe the final couple can be for raw bamboo and sticks, potentially. That seems like a smart way of doing things that doesn't require any multi-tiered auto crafters or selection of things that, frankly, I'm not really going to use. Oh, I've managed to log out while this thing is running. This is the only issue with flying machine-based farms, but thankfully they can be fixed pretty easily. The only one that's annoying on it is a melon and pumpkin farm, because they have slightly more complicated components inside of them. But that aside, let's get to crafting. And to save myself some embarrassment, I'm actually going to check the crafting recipes this time. Okay, so that makes a ton of sense. And then I guess in my head, it's a few of those. Oh. Okay, the crafting recipe is different from what I expected. How am I still so bad at this game? I've been playing it for over 12 years. Wait, I just thought, what did I even think the crafting recipe for planks would be? It's the same as any other plank. I don't even have an excuse. This is how you make planks. You're just getting less planks. I'm embarrassed. For some reason in my head, it was almost like the crafting bench crafting recipe. Just because I thought that would be better balanced, as it's really easy to get lots and lots of bamboo, but I'm extremely happy it is this way. So the first part of the process was moving all of the bamboo out of all of these chests, and I thought it would be smart to craft them up into blocks of bamboo. This is quite a lot. Next thing is I have to remove all of these chests, and it feels really nice to know that I can just let these things drop onto the ground and despawn. I can do whatever I want with them, because I now effectively have an infinite supply of functional wood. I no longer have to use my good wood for the chests. I can use this stuff. I mean, look at this. It's already coming in handy. I can just craft tons of hoppers. I can do whatever I want. Now, I think in terms of the first stage of crafters, I'm just going to copy what I had going on over here. These things are really fast and they work really reliably. And then I'm hoping I can add a tiny bit of redstone, which will automatically convert them into planks afterwards. So we'll go bamboo block to bamboo planks. And then this one I'm just going to keep as bamboo blocks, so no extra plank bit here. Actually, no, I think this one's going to be planks. It's going to be bamboo blocks here, and then these final two are going to be for sticks and just bamboo. Frustratingly, I've just run out of gold, and I've now kind of set the precedent that all of my farms in this area are built using gold for their redstone bits. So I need to get more gold. I truly am my own worst enemy on this one. Thankfully, the stock level is remaining relatively high. I'm extremely curious to see if this modification works. So in theory, when this crafter gets filled up, it will be turned into a bamboo block. It will then shoot that item into this one, and one tick later, it will convert the bamboo block into planks. Now we find out if it's working. So it's filling up. I mean, that looks pretty good to me. And that is working pretty quickly. Imagine this thing is going to be producing those planks 3 times as fast, because we're going to have 3 hopper streams running into this crafter. Yes, okay. I am really, really happy with that. That's nice and simple. So let's repeat it for all of these crafters over here. And that is now done. So all of these are going to be outputting planks. I've also built the one that is going to be outputting just the regular bamboo blocks. Now, how do you craft a stick? Okay, it's different from how I thought. What is my problem? How do I know so few crafting recipes? This is ridiculous. That actually makes a ton of sense. Okay, so I guess all this needs is a crafter with just these selected, and then a rapid firing clock running into it, and that should just about do us. There we go, all sorted. So if bamboo flows into the top, we will get sticks coming out, and then this last double chest at the end is just going to be pure regular bamboo. Now, I said this in the episode where I was building the sugarcane farm, but I'm going to say it again. This is a very temporary storage system. I haven't quite worked out where I want my major storage system to be for the industrial district. Again, we're going to have a big external structure covering this entire thing, which is going to look fantastic. And I want to make the storage system a feature of that structure. So that means it's a little bit more important that I work that out than it has been in previous industrial districts. I went to say industrial district and industrious districts at the same time, and my brain sort of did both badly. I'm going to take a quick break, grab some lunch, and see how many items this thing produces in that time. Oh gosh. Oh, I just came out of the hole and immediately got blasted. Okay, that is maybe not the best start. Thankfully all of my chests are safe. Now let's see what we've got. Okay. Also not a good sign. I have clearly messed something up, but we do have planks here, so this one's working. What have I done differently on these? I don't understand. The redstone's exactly the same. Oh. Okay. That makes... Okay. I don't understand. The redstone's exactly the same. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, okay, so there's been a desync here. Basically, this repeater will have powered this redstone line. Oh, it will have messed everything up. It's almost like a self-powering cycle. It shouldn't be too difficult to fix. It should just require a handful of target blocks. I essentially need to redirect the redstone signal, but it's more just that that's a really silly mistake for me to have not noticed, to be honest with you. So let's replace all of this redstone with target blocks. That should do the trick. And then what on earth do I do with this? I mean, I could just do this. It's like powering on and off the crafter. I don't know. I don't know if this is smart. The thing is, there's a huge backlog. I think I'm just going to have to cut my losses and get rid of these things, but they're not leaving fast enough. Oh gosh. I think I've come up with a plan. Okay, I've broken the crafter, replaced the crafter. Everything should kick back into gear. Clear out this. Okay, now we're back in business. I just need to do this for all of the other ones and accept the rather depressing fact that I have lost a pretty sizable quantity of bamboo here. What an absolute disaster that was. I thought I'd put myself in a hole for 20 minutes just as punishment, but also because I'd like to get a little bit more bamboo. And now we can finally see how many planks we got. And the answer is a very decent quantity. Okay, this is fantastic news. I now have infinite wood. And with my infinite iron and infinite gold and also a decent amount of quartz from all of the piglins and things, redstone resources are now very easy to get a hold of. Apart from the actual redstone itself, I still have no way to get that in large quantities. It might finally be time for another 12-hour mining session, but that is not a task for today. Today I've got some dying to do. Where is it? Where is my key to Ravager Rush? I know it's around here somewhere. There we go. I also have an awfully large number of diamonds kicking around, so I think it's time I give this a whirl. But before I do, important disclaimer. Remember, I brush shift with my thumb. I use my arrow keys with just one finger. There's no strafing. Look, you've never seen me do this before. And I crash it. Look, I accidentally press the inventory key. If I try and do it, I'm a one-finger guy. I'm all-round terrible at Minecraft. That is why I build redstone contraptions. This is going to be your frame of reference for if a non-gamer decided to play Ravager Rush. I'm looking around at some of the scores. Pearl has got 79. I think that's good. Ren has got 6. So I'm going to try and beat Ren. That is concerning that Gem has 4. Gem's good at the game. Gem is good at stuff. And she has 4? Are you serious? Okay. This all sounds pretty exciting. Okay, so I have to dodge the Ravagers and reach the 5 gates at the end of the level. These gates close after each success. Closing all 5 gates opens them all again. Okay. These are very useful, I think. This is a very good last tip. Okay, as far as I know, this is like Frogger, right? And I played Frogger a very long time ago. Right, let's just do this. This is going to be round number 1. Oh, I'm kind of scared. 100% going note block music, though. And I am going to have music on. Okay, this is good. What was I meant to clear my inventory beforehand? I don't know. Oh my goodness. Okay. This is really difficult already. Oh, oh. Am I doing surprisingly better than... Ah! I thought I was doing pretty well. Okay, I get it. I get how this works now. Alright. Oh dear. Am I gonna get 0? Okay, the Ravager's just gone past. Wow, wow, my first one was better than I expected. Goodness gracious me. Oh. What am I meant to do? Okay, Ravager's just gone past. Where, how do I... Wow. Yeah, should have seen that coming. How am I meant to know where the bad bits are? Did I get 0 points? What on earth? Has any... What am I meant to do? Okay, Ravager's just gone past. Where, how do I... Wow. Yeah, should have seen that coming. How am I meant to know where the bad bits are? Did I get 0 points? What on earth? Has anyone gotten 0 points? I'm very sad about this. Okay. Let me have a rethink about how I'm going to do things. Oh, I forgot the first rule. Follow them. Yes, very smart. Okay, yeah. Okay, how could I have forgotten such a grand and great rule? I'm feeling ready. I'm feeling fresh. I'm not going to rush. I'm going to stay perfectly calm. I'm staying perfectly calm. See, look. I'm following. Oh. Oh. There's more than one. Why am I so disastrous at games? Okay, what is the frequency? They're quite frequent, aren't they? Oh. Wow! Wow! What am I meant to do? This is impossible! This is an impossible game! I jumped into that one. I deserved that entirely. Oh, what? What? I got killed by... I'm probably the only person that ever got killed by a zombie! Okay, come on, come on, come on. Okay, following. Following. Yeah, that was doomed to fail. This is why I don't play games. They just make me sad. I'm actually useless. I'm actually a useless person. I should give up. Will I manage to get more than 0 points? Will I manage to get more than 0 points? That's all I ask. I'm ready. Okay, I'm not panicking. And I'm going to watch. I'm actually going to spend some time watching. This is going to sound silly. I had not realised they go in a zigzag pattern. So this one goes that way. Oh, okay, so those two go that way. So they're kind of in sync with one another. So I can follow there. Okay, I think I know what I need to do. I think I'm ready. Here goes. So follow this guy. Follow this guy. No, no. Why can I not walk fast? Am I totally in the wrong here? Wow! So left, right. There's a Ravager there. There is a Ravager there. Why? It's just not even fun. This is not even fun. I'm questioning my life choices big time here. So it's left, right, left, left, right. Left, right. No, no. Oh, 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 oh. What? Oh. That was pure accident. No. Oh, my parkour let me down. Yeah. Wow. I'm feeling good though. Like, I feel like I'm onto a winner. Left, right, left, left. Wow. Oh my goodness, I got lucky there. Right. Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness, you can jump over them. Oh, I'm in physical pain. Oh my goodness, I got lucky. I feel like I didn't deserve that. I didn't deserve that. That was unfair. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I've learned it. I've learned it. Oh my goodness! Yes! 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 Come on, 6 points! I'm actually the happiest I've ever been! added my name to the book. Chuffed to bits for that. My hair might be slightly grey, and there might be something strange happening at the laboratory, but I have infinite useful wood, and I have 6 points at Ravager Rush. This day couldn't be better. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya! Welcome back to another episode on the miiiinecraft server. This is episode 30. That is 3 lots of 10, 30 lots of 1. What on earth? I know we've just started the episode with maths, but I mean, how much better has come? That's over 100 times better. Oh, in the previous miiiinecraft episode, I tried playing Ravager Rush for the first time, and the start was slow. I questioned my life choices quite considerably, but there was a world where the high score seemed relatively attainable. This is bonkers. What? How has this escalated so much in the space of like 5 days? This is ridiculous. If you read my score backwards, I still wouldn't be in first place. Would I even be on the podium? Oh, I guess I'd be on the podium. Okay, well, at least that makes me feel a little bit better. I don't know why that means something to me. It really is completely meaningless, but yes, for some reason, that has pleased me mildly. At least I'm still beating Jeb. Time to crack on with my projects for the day. Flying things keep appearing around my base. What is going on here? These are amazing, though. How are people so good at building organic structures? Anyway, today it is time for more industrial district business. So in the previous miiiinecraft episode, we built up this gigantic bamboo farm, which is dealing with all of our wood needs. This is the best change that Mojang ever made. The fact that bamboo now can be crafted into planks. I thought I could ignore that guy until he left me alone, but clearly that was not the case. But genuinely, I think out of all the changes that Mojang have made in recent years, this is the most incredible. It just means that you can bulk craft ridiculously useful items like chests, hoppers, pistons. All items that we are going to need an incredibly large quantity of today, because it is time for me to construct the industrial kelp farm. This is going to be going up the back section here. We're then going to connect it up to an automatic crafting and smelting system so that we get infinite kelp blocks as fuel, and then I might even make an industrial super smelter. Let's quickly pop into the redstone testing world because I've got a tiny bit of designing to do. Okay, let's see if I can remember how to do this. So we have the dirt that the kelp grows on. That's nice and easy. We're detecting the update of the bottom kelp block for when the kelp grows, and then we're immediately going to break that with a piston. So something like this would work for a single unit of kelp, but that's not particularly useful. So instead, something like this could work. It seems intelligent, but then when you place them next to one another, it means every piston in the line is going to fire whenever a single piece of kelp grows. And yeah, I mean, that seems kind of clunky, but it does mean I could turn the entire kelp farm off, which is amazing. I want to be able to do that because this thing is outside of my base. Don't even talk to me about this. I mean, in theory, it works. And it works quite nicely. It's quite an elegant little thing. And I do have a lot of gold. And, I mean, it can be turned off. And they stack on top of one another. And now I've made it a lot smarter than the first design that I came up with. It doesn't require any repeaters or anything like that. The pistons stay retracted while the farm is off, which means kelp can grow, which means when we turn it on, all that kelp that has been growing will be harvested, which will be many stacks. So that's a pretty big positive. I'm sure there's better designs out there, I'm sure there's other designs out there, but I do kind of like this. I like the way that it functions, I like the way that it looks, it feels fun to build, and that's the point, isn't it? Like, it seems like it will be a fun one to build. I'm excited for it. It's not something that I've built before. So let's get started. And the first thing that I need to start with is collecting a large quantity of redstone dust. So what I did is research into redstone ore distribution because it's been a while since I've gone out mining specifically for it. And it seems like, yeah, the deeper you go into the world, the more you're going to get. So Y minus 59, there is 511 redstone ore per 100,000 blocks. Which doesn't sound that common to me. Part of me wonders if it's faster me actually going for regular redstone ore at 92 and 100,000, but with a beacon. Like, it's 5 times less likely, but I feel like it's like 100 times faster. This seems like the perfect opportunity for a very unscientific experiment. Please remember, I am a moron, okay? I'm going to try my best to do this properly, and I'm going to try my best to get some form of somewhat meaningful result. But that doesn't mean that you should listen to anything that I say here. I mean, I can't even find my good pickaxes. I swear I made more pickaxes than this. Is that all I've got? Is that going to be enough? Okay, unless you hadn't caught on yet, I'm going to spend a certain amount of time mining deep slate and gathering deep slate redstone ore, and then I'm going to spend the same amount of time, haven't decided the amount of time yet, gathering up redstone ore Y12, not in deep slate, with a beacon. And we will see what is best, and we will also gather loads of redstone for our project. It really is a win-win. Oh yeah, it feels good. It feels good to have infinite free sticks. Look at that. Okay, now that I think about it, you know when I said that planks, bamboo planks, were the best thing that Mojang did? I feel like I always forget about the autocrafter. Like, I almost take for granted how good the autocrafter is. Okay, that's enough rambling. It's time for science. And as I started, my 2-way test actually turned into a 3-way test. So I decided to do half an hour of each method, which isn't much time, but I'm very glad that I did that because some of my methods were utterly useless. The first method I kind of stumbled across because as I was making my way down to create a little strip mine, I actually stumbled across a cave system and realised that one of the best ways to get resources in Minecraft 1.21 is to go into the caves. So I was looking about all over the place and I managed to get a decent-ish amount of redstone ore, although it was less than I expected. But I did manage to get tons of diamonds. So then it was time to move on to the second method. The second method being travelling down to the bottom of the world and just mining in a straight line. Now obviously you see less blocks this way, but you are able to actually be in the area that ores are. You see redstone ore, it generates more towards the bottom of the world, and a lot of the time that I spent caving, just by the nature of it, you're going up and down and you're actually travelling quite high in the Y level, which meant that the amount of redstone ore that I was finding wasn't actually that much, whereas even though I wasn't seeing that many block faces down at the bottom, I was getting a higher ratio of redstone ore, so this was proving to be quite good. Then it was time for the reason why I tried this entire experiment. You know, when I said that I thought potentially I would be able to get more redstone ore with my beacon and going through stone insta-mining. Well, this is why science exists. I managed to get 5 redstone ore. I don't think I've ever gotten less redstone. I probably could have stood somewhere in the dark and killed witches and got more redstone than this method. And don't even tempt me with that experiment. I am genuinely baffled. I am baffled as to how poorly this performed. I mean, what on earth? I mean, I got 4 diamond ore, which is cool. These are really rare, so I'm actually going to keep these for decorative purposes. 5 redstone ore. I suppose I would have got a bunch of stone from it, but I wasn't bothered about the stone, so I left it to despawn because I wanted to focus all my efforts on getting as much redstone ore as possible, and it failed me completely. Goodness gracious me, I'm never doing science again. Or I should say, I am never going to come up with a hypothesis again and then test it, because it will make me look stupid. I much prefer just saying stupid things and then never testing them, because then nobody knows that they're stupid. This time I made the mistake of proving myself stupid. This has been a catastrophic disaster. So this is what I managed to get from my caving mission. You can see I got more diamond ore than I actually got redstone, which I guess isn't a bad thing, especially because I can buy redstone with diamonds. And then this is what I managed to get from my strip mining session down at the bottom of the world. A lot more redstone ore and also more diamonds, which is a bit of a surprise. I think I got very lucky there. And then finally, yeah, this was my beacon session. And so resolves my incredibly unscientific test that you really can't take anything meaningful from. Oh, and I have one more redstone related question, because it's become abundantly clear to me that I have earned more in diamonds than I have in redstone dust. If Tango sells 32 redstone blocks for 7 diamonds, How much more redstone did I get from mining the diamonds in my mining session than I did from mining the redstone in my mining session? This has been a very maths-heavy Hermitcraft episode so far, hasn't it? Thankfully, that should be everything I need to do regarding resource gathering. Everything else I should have at hand. The only thing that I do need to pick up is quartz, which hopefully I have a somewhat decent quantity of, thanks to my bartering farm. Oh, I have less than I expected. Thank goodness for that. It looks like I've already collected a bunch. First things first, observers. By the bucket load. And already I have almost exhausted all of my redstone supplies. Then I need a ton of powered rails. Oh my gosh, not that much. Well, they'll probably come in handy at some point in the future. Then I need a ton of activator rails, which to be frankly honest, I don't actually know how to craft. Oh, okay, it turns out slightly weirdly. That should be enough. And now we start building. So, I need to do a line of 15 dirt blocks across like this. Then there'll be a little gap, and then there'll be another 15 dirt blocks going along like this. Cool. Okay, so this is how wide our farm is going to be, and then we're going to have a bunch of layers. I have enough observers to make 128 individual kelp harvesters, so that works out to be about 4 layers, which should take us up to the top of this hill here. Now I've just made a bit of a realization, and that is the fact that I've probably built this thing 1 block too close to the wall. I don't like the idea of this thing touching the wall.
I have built. The only problem?
Wall. I don't know why, so I'm going to move it 2 blocks further forward. I will be the first to admit that this seems mildly pedantic for an area as ugly as this industrial district, but it matters to me. So, all my dirt is in, all of my observers are in, all of the area for the powered rails and things are in, so now it is time to create these, and oh my goodness, this is what I worried about. I worried that this would be a thing. Okay, all is well, so I just have to do a bit of this. Okay, and then... No. No. Alright, I think I have this worked out. And there was a brief scare there. It's been a while since I've done any large-scale powered rails stuff. Yes. Okay. This is how I have to do it. All is well. Everything is working. It will take twice as long, but that is fine. Then it's just all of these observers here, and they will all have pistons on the faces, and that is 1 part of the first layer all done. 1/8 complete. I think I'm getting into a bit of a rhythm now, but of course, as soon as I say that, I start doing stupid stuff like placing stone bricks where I was meant to place a powered rail. Now, of course, we have the off switch line, which runs all the way along the back, and this is everything all done and dusted. Nice one. Okay, that has all gone pretty smoothly. Is it working? Excuse me? Excuse me? What have I done? Oh no. Thank goodness. What are the chances that I would test the 1 rail or 2 rails? One of the 2 rails that I had done incorrectly. That is ridiculous. Right, I'm so glad that is done, because if I had discovered that issue when there was water in the farm, frankly, I wouldn't have fixed it. I've realised that I've been a tiny bit daft with the way that I've built up this design. Normally you stack kelp farms like this, so that the water flows down them so you can constantly grow kelp. I'm not doing that. Mine is going to be vertical, but it does mean that I have to have a 1 block air gap between each one of the layers. Again, I'm very happy that I thought of this before I built the entire farm, then started putting the water in, because that would have been a rather depressing realization. The exciting upshot of this is that my turn-off line now doesn't have to be back here, but it can actually be on top of the rails, which makes the farm ever so slightly slimmer. And that makes me excited because I'm a weirdo. The farm is now 2 layers high, and look at it. Look how tiny it is. I absolutely love builds that have very small amount of airspace in them. I love like almost every gap being used. There's just these 2 holes here. If I could think of something to fill them with, I would, but there's nothing useful that I could put in there. Gosh, that does look satisfying though, doesn't it? Part of me does wonder if I should have done the tiered system. I mean, this design does work with that as well. but I kind of like the straight up look. It does mean I'm going to have to do a lot more water placing though. That is something that I hadn't thought of, but again, in terms of style points, I think I'm winning. So this is the third layer, all done and dusted. Lovely jubbly. This one I've somehow managed to build wrong, but I corrected it with relative ease, and now the farm is all completed. Everything is here for this to be functional. So now I have a redstone tutorial to watch. I think it's time I make use of the Hermitcraft recording studio once again. Oh, and last time I was here, I thought this was a camera. I quickly realised afterwards that this is obviously meant to be a microphone, but I think we can all agree the perspective that it creates is hilarious, and I am going to be doing it again. Where is this zombie? There. Have I found him? Is that the one? Imagine backing your recording studio onto an unlit cave. There's more. There's more areas. It is time for the first ever Mumbo Jumbo reaction video. Joe Hills has made me a redstone tutorial, and I thought it would be funny to react to it live on camera. It's not very often people make me redstone tutorials, so yeah, let's give it a watch.
You know what? It can be a real hassle on the Hermitcraft server
Did he say hassle? For some reason, I don't feel like Joe Hills often says the word hassle.
to collect the sand that you share as profit from your oak and birch shop.
What? He's done my title cards. This must have taken ages. He's got the font and everything. This is impressive.
Mumbo says, Doc, where is my sand?
I would like to know where my sand is.
I've got the redstone tutorial just for you. It's really quite simple to
He
collect.
said really quite simple. Okay, he might be in the business of making good redstone tutorials.
Let's hop over to my redstone creative world.
He's made a redstone testing world. This is fantastic. These title cards are good.
I've got a redstone block right here to test. Hey, look at that. We did it, and everything was fine. You know, people say don't mess with...
I should probably close the door on my recording studio. It's starting to get dark.
I needed to gather a lot of bamboo signs. As you can see, we've got one here with an arrow.
I sincerely hope he isn't just going to have the redstone tutorial be a bunch of signs. Feels like it's going to be a bunch of signs.
What does that lever do? Well, let me show you in our redstone test world. Why is it still...
He's doing good. This is actually pretty accurate to how redstone works.
So we continue down this tunnel to the split of the sand via some sort of redstone mechanism. You'll see that there's a Mumbo sand stack and a Doc sand.
Wait, is that actually how it works? How did I not know this? I'm assuming Joe Hills didn't do this part of the redstone. Has this been here all along? How did I not know that this was a thing?
You can tell which one is yours because it hasn't been touched, whereas Doc has been harvested.
I have loads of sand I didn't even know about. What?
Wow, that's a lot of sand, Doc. Leave some for the rest of us. Oh wait, he did. Thanks.
I didn't know. Oh no, I've been complaining. Oh no, I feel really bad. Doc actually has set up a redstone system to give me my sand and do an equal split, and I have just completely not known about that. Thanks, Joe. Your video was extremely good. Well, that is certainly going to make the next part of this project considerably easier. I've honestly never felt so guilty in all my life. In my defense, nobody told me about this system. I don't know how I was meant to know about this system. I don't know how Joe Hills found out about this system. But by Jove, it does seem to exist. Yeah, there's the lever. Wow, I can actually get access to my sand. Doc sand. Wait, what? What? How has the plot thickened? Where is my sand still? How has this happened to me? I was so close. I was so close to having sand. What? There's a bunch of sand in here. Is this my sand? Is this mine? It feels like the right quantity to be mine. My brain is frazzled. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do about this information. I feel like I've been utterly bamboozled here. I've made a small addition to my sign. Hopefully I can get answers to this soon. Otherwise, I will be relocating my sand into Doc M's trousers. This is demoralising. Oh. My day has taken a turn that I wasn't expecting. This should hopefully do the trick, and this should hopefully be the last time I have to fill in these furnaces with sand. And now it's time to do the final stages of our kelp farm. So the first thing I have to do is the actual collection of the kelp, which should be really quite simple. It's just a line of hoppers with water flowing into them. I don't think this thing is going to be fast enough to require multiple hopper lines, but we will see. And then somewhere over here we're going to have to create a kelp drying station and then a kelp crafting station to turn those dried kelp into kelp blocks. And then we're going to need to recirculate some of those kelp blocks to fuel the furnaces that are doing the kelp smelting, and some of the kelp blocks are going to come out and they're going to be our fuel for the furnace array, which is going to be going over here. I'm like 50% certain that all of that made sense, so now I need to make the box that is going to go around our kelp farm to make sure that none of the kelp flies out, and that is why I needed all of the glass. Despite the fact that I'm covering up all of these farms, I still like being able to see the farms. I'm also absolutely itching to make the factory mega structure that is going to cover this thing. Chimneys, all sorts of industrialness. It's going to look awesome. Cool. Everything is going very smoothly. The kelp farm is coming together. Now we need to get all of the water in place, and that is going to be a bit of a weird one, but I think I have an idea to do this in a really, really lazy way. Oh my goodness. Okay, I probably need to get the kelp in quite fast because these pistons are going absolutely crazy. Right, I've got the top line of water in place. Okay, now I personally don't think I need any other water buckets because I should just be able to do this going all the way along. Oh my goodness, this is a lot of pistons. I really hope I don't break anything on the server. But despite how ridiculous this whole thing is, it does seem to be functioning quite well. It's making a lot of noise. Right, let's get the kelp and stop this racket. This should hopefully start to calm things down a little bit. Just about. I've got one full row of calm ones. These are working. This is the most challenging thing I've ever done. Oh no. Oh, this is not the time. This is not the time. I've made a depressing discovery. Okay, I'm just going to come out with it. There is a chance that this entire farm isn't going to work because of the way that I've built it, and I'm frankly trying not to cry. I've put all the kelp in, and you can see that some of the kelp is getting stuck. Some of the kelp is getting stuck. A lot of the kelp is being stuck. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah. Okay, in my commitment to wanting to make this a fully vertical farm, like one where it's just like a nice slim box. I didn't think of one element. I didn't think of an element. And that is the fact that I need to push the kelp out. And sometimes they get stuck in the pistons. It gets stuck in the pistons a lot. And that means they get stuck in the water. I'm hoping I can fix this. I really just wanted to make a cool looking kelp farm. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to do a design that was a little bit different, a little bit weird, a little bit wonky. Used some fun mechanics, was fun to build, and I have succeeded on all of those fronts, apart from the fact that the kelp farm doesn't actually work. I'm laughing because I'm actually really upset. Like, I'm really, really upset. Please, please work when I power the redstone lines. I'm hoping that if I reset all of the water streams, then it will all work properly. So let's observe. Oh, okay. Oh, kelp's coming out. Yeah, the kelp's getting stuck in it. The majority of the kelp's getting stuck. Yeah. Okay. At this point, I stood up out of my chair and walked out into the garden of the Airbnb that I was recording in and played with my dog for a bit and contemplated the thought that I might actually have to delete this entire Hermitcraft episode. But as I threw that little stick around, I had a bit of an idea. Sure, it was a tiny bit annoying and it took a little while to create, but if I segmented off each one of the water streams, I could create my own individual flowing water for each layer, and all of the kelp would be fired out and dropped down into the hoppers. And this reminded me of why I actually choose to build my own farms and not generally build farms from tutorials. Because despite being frustrating, sometimes time-consuming, and very headache-inducing, it's really fun coming up with solutions to problems yourself. And this solution is so uniquely Minecrafty. I mean, look! Signs. Just a bunch of signs. That's it. Signs stop water, and they're completely transparent. They don't have any form of usable hitbox, so items can pass fully through them. This is a feature that has been in the game for many, many years, and it's a feature that you don't really think of, but it's useful and has been used for many, many years. These are the weird idiosyncrasies that make Minecraft an interesting and unique game to play. I mean, look at this redstone contraption. This whole thing's weird. It makes use of rails and then observers detect the update of a piece of kelp growing above them that allows us to push out the piston. I mean, all of this thing is weird. I know I could have hopped onto YouTube and found a million tutorials for various different kelp farms of various different efficiencies and build one in a very short space of time, and I almost definitely wouldn't have found it quite so frustrating. But this farm right here, this farm's pretty cool. It's needlessly compact. It has one too many signs, maybe a couple hundred too many signs, but it works really, really nicely. And eventually it is going to power my furnace array. And who knows, I might even make the mistake of designing that one myself too. Now I was going to sign off at this point, but Exuma is currently online, and if he sees that I haven't added an off switch to my gigantic kelp farm, he'll probably punch me in the face and kick me from the server. So that is now built, the farm is now switched off, everyone on the server likes me, and now I can leave you. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya! Welcome back to another episode on the miiiinecraft server. This is episode 31, and today we are starting things off once again in the industrial district. In the previous miiiinecraft episode, I built up this kelp farm. It provided me with a decent number of curveballs and a decent number of headaches. I essentially wanted to break the mold a little bit with kelp farms, and I wanted to do one that fit within a small space. It was completely vertical, it could be switched off, and all of the kelp could be harvested independently. Now, I designed it, and I designed it with a number of design flaws. To put it plainly, I designed it as a redstone contraption, not really thinking about how it would work as a farm. Like, the redstone worked, it detected the kelp and it broke it, but I didn't really think about the water streams and where the kelp would go and anything like that. But thankfully, I managed to work everything out with a very large quantity of signs, and now we're getting heaps of kelp pouring out into this chest right here. And today, I'm going to convert that kelp into dried kelp, then into dried kelp blocks, then into fuel for the dried kelp creator, but also fuel for my industrial smelter. So let's pop into the redstone testing world and get to work on some designing. So our kelp runs into this double chest right here. It is then going to go into a pair of furnaces down at the bottom here. Do smokers work with kelp? I imagine they do. What is my inventory? How in creative mode do I suffer from the same issues that I have in survival mode? So if I chuck some kelp in here, okay, perfect. We will use smokers, that is great. So we've got these hoppers here, those run into the smokers, our dried kelp will come out of here and be automatically crafted into dried kelp blocks. Now we're going to have our output line go this way. I actually think I'm going to do a setup a little bit like this. So we've got our crafter down at the bottom there, and then when that fills up, it'll send the items up like this. So let's just quickly get that one going. When more slots are filled, it will power the redstone line, and something like that should work. So as our dried kelp comes in, there we go, crafted up, and it's gone through into this hopper, through into here, and because the smoker is currently filled up with dried kelp blocks, it is staying there. Okay, this is perfect. But now I've started thinking about things, and I've realised that if, say, this smoker right here, which is kind of the backup smoker for when this starts overflowing, only gets like a handful of kelp, it's actually not profitable for it to craft dried kelp blocks and use them as fuel, because there's a chance we're just burning more kelp than it's actually smelting. So you might need to put in like a holding system for it. Okay, time to over-engineer this thing. Right, we've got our starting double chest. We've got our hoppers and our two smokers. Now, when each of these hoppers goes over a certain value, then it will release a bunch of items. So that is one side, this is the other side. This is a bulky redstone contraption, but I don't really care. It's for a farm. Farms aren't meant to be compact. Let's give this a quick test. So we've got our hopper here, and if we just start putting kelp in, you can see it will gradually fill up until it gets to around about 23, and then the circuit kicks in, all of the kelp flows out, and 8 pieces have come out. Is there a way that I can make this 9? Yes. Okay, that's great. So that means that every single time we get a kelp block's worth of items coming in, a kelp block's worth of items will come out. So at the very least, we will break even on our kelp blocks. Next up on the to-do list, I'm going to add in the circuit that detects when we need fuel for our dried kelp smokers. So I'm effectively going to have it so that the smokers always have a full stack of dried kelp inside of them, and then when we get an extra one, the comparator will detect it, and then we will lock these hoppers somehow. Potentially just with pistons and redstone blocks. It's a bit of a dirty solution, but that's fine. Alright, this seems a little bit more elegant. We don't have to deal with powering problems over here. So then our items make their way over to this crafter here, and then the items will be shot up this item elevator, travel along this hopper line, potentially drop down into the dried kelp smelters, but if they don't, and if the dried kelp smelters are filled, then they will travel off into the storage system in this output line. So the final part of the circuit is just the auto crafter and the little item elevator, which will take the items upwards, and you can see that is now all working. So you've got one dried kelp block that just stays in the item elevator. That is absolutely fine. Items travel up. Currently the smokers are completely filled, so we've got no extra items going in there. All of the dried kelp is going to the output. Everything seems to be working properly. If there's enough items, both sets of hoppers will be completely unlocked, but what I imagine will happen is one of the furnaces will get the bulk of the items, the other one will just be picking up the overflow, so occasionally will stack up. And gradually my number of kelp blocks is slowly increasing. So now let's build it on the Hermitcraft server. I guess there is one thing that I probably should have checked before I started on this, but I'm going to check now before I build up the entire redstone contraption. Can you make smokers with blocks of bamboo? No! No, I guess that's because you have to craft smokers with bark blocks, which is really frustrating, mainly because I have none. So I've got 2 smokers, and I'm just going to make sure that just 2 smokers can keep up with the output of my kelp farm. I both hope that they can, because then I don't have to redesign that redstone contraption, but I also hope that they can't, because then that means my kelp farm is really nice and fast. Sometime later, okay, it's keeping up. It's keeping up just fine. We are actually right on the limit of what I thought it would be, which is, generally speaking, this smoker is doing the majority of the smoking, but then occasionally kelp will leak into the other one. So I'm very glad I did all of that extra circuitry. That was time well spent. Because look at this. One piece of coal has just been used for creating one piece of dried kelp. If you imagine this coal was dried kelp blocks, that would have been a lot of dried kelp used to smelt up one piece of dried kelp. The word dried kelp is starting to lose all meaning, and I'm beginning to get scared. Right, let's quickly build up this redstone contraption, shall we? And I thought this would work better as a time-lapse, because obviously you've seen me go through the decision-making exercise in the redstone testing world. So this was just a simple copy and paste, effectively, from my redstone testing world into the Hermitcraft server. And then I had a brief freak out where I thought I had done everything completely incorrectly and nothing was working, but realised I was wrong, everything was functioning, and now our kelp is being automatically crafted, automatically smelted, and automatically split. So now it's time to build the thing that it's splitting off to. And that, of course, is my super smelter. Now, I'm going to try my best to design this thing myself. We shall see how that goes. But here's what I'm thinking, right? So our kelp blocks are going to make their way along, and then when we get more than... yeah, let's go with 23. That's how many furnaces we're going to have. Yeah, so when we get 23 kelp blocks in the final hopper, then a little hopper minecart will transfer the kelp blocks over into all of the furnaces, and they will all be automatically fueled up. And then we will have a kind of similar system up at the top for dropping in items. I think all of this makes sense. All of this definitely seems possible, and it definitely seems like something that I should be able to create. So again, let's hop into the redstone testing world. I'm now hyper conscious of that after the Joe Hill's redstone tutorial. Okie doke. Right, let's see how well this goes. So we need something like this. So once we get a power level of 2 going through this comparator, that piston will retract. That's not compact. Okay, I've just realised I'm doing this into the top of the furnaces. It functionally makes no difference. I just want to make sure that the redstone is actually functioning. I've just been doing a little bit of thinking, and it makes no sense that I only drop off items going in this direction. It makes a lot more sense that I do it in both directions. It splits the number of trips in half. So this minecart will only move when it has 43 items on the inside of it. So if I put a bunch of kelp up at the top here, we should see that it will begin to fill up. Now obviously this would be with kelp blocks, but again, these hoppers are going into the top of the furnaces, so I've had to do regular kelp instead. but when this gets to 46, it will start moving. Doesn't matter that it's 47. The kelp will start going in up here as well, but this is going to come back. There should be only a couple left. Each one of these furnaces has got 2 on the inside of it. This will continue filling up. All of the kelp has been evenly distributed. Okay, this is all working properly. We should now go up to 4 in every single furnace. Excellent news. This is all working. It's been a very long time since I've designed a super smelter. I genuinely think the last time I had one was once again in Hermitcraft Season 7. So that is, yeah, 4 years ago now. Okay, total even distribution. Right, let's get this built on the Hermitcraft server. It shouldn't be too much of a challenge. I guess I should quickly explain a little bit about super smelters, because I'm kind of making the assumption that everyone understands why you would want one and how they operate. Essentially, a super smelter activates a bunch of furnaces all at once, and the reason that we want to distribute all of the items evenly is so that every single smelter within the system always has the same amount of fuel. I know that may seem fairly obvious to a lot of you, but if someone hasn't built a super smelter before, then all of this might be a bit confusing. We genuinely might have to bend our super smelter around a corner. I don't know if I've got enough space to build one here. So that is 10 furnaces. Or are we going to just about squeak it in? I don't actually think we are. No, definitely not. That is maths, 16. Okay, it's 16. We need to get to 23. So I'm going to go around this corner here. And that is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay, so our super smelter is a bit of a weird one. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I've ever built an L-shaped super smelter before. Oh my goodness, I've just realised I made the same mistake that I made in the redstone testing world. I was about to put all the items into the top. So instead of this being the kelp chest, that is going to be the input chest for the items that you want to smelt, and then I'm going to put the kelp chest somewhere else. Part of me is almost considering hooking one of these up to an automatic crafter of chests. That's one of the main reasons why I have this bamboo farm, and it seems useful to just have tons of chests on tap. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, now it is time for the redstone. So this is where our detector rail is going to be going. So we're going to have a comparator output coming from there. This is going to be going into our piston and bits. Then we're going to have another one of these circuits for the input of the items that we want to smelt. So that's going to be going over here. This probably all looks a little bit strange given that you've got no powered rails or rails to reference. Feels like I'm just building a theoretical redstone contraption. One day I will learn how minecart rails work, so that I'm not nervous when placing them in situations like this. I just always assume they're going to connect up wrong and everything's going to break and I'm going to be upset. But everything seems to be all good at the minute. All of the rails are in, everything is looking lovely. We have got our little minecart hopper stoppers all gradually going in place now. Beautiful stuff. This is good fun. I absolutely love the fact that these minecart-based super smelters have all of the redstone at one end and then everything else is just simple furnaces and rails. Those rails are now powered. The only thing that I'm slightly worried about is this corner, because minecarts are weird. I guess we're about to find out what happens. My output chest is going to be over here again. These are all kind of temporary locations, although, to be honest with you, I don't know where I should put the output chest for the super smelter. It feels like it shouldn't be in a centralized location. I think I actually like the idea of putting it on the inside here, because that means that both halves of this thing can actually run into the chest, because I think 23 furnaces will actually output slightly, and I mean very slightly, faster than the hopper speed. Bear in mind, I could be wrong there. What on earth has happened to my vision? Why am I gradually zooming in? Something has happened, and I'm unfamiliar with what it is. I've relogged. If this stays, then I guess it's the end of the hammock. Send help. Genuinely send help. What combination of keys have I pressed? There's nothing that I can do. I can't zoom out or anything. Oh no! It's even in F5 mode. This is not cinematic mode. Look, I can turn off cinematic. It doesn't change. I'm just zoomed in. Okay, I've restarted my computer. Please. Please. Thank goodness. If anyone can explain what just happened, I would love to hear it. That's enough funny business. Let's see if our super smelter is actually working. Everything should all be in place for this to function, so I'm going to put a bunch of coal into here, and this will begin to fill up. I don't know why I'm so incredibly nervous. It makes no sense why I'm so... Why should I be nervous? But I am. But it's gradually counting up. We should see it'll probably go to 47. It's moving. It's moving and it's distributing. It's made the corner. So that's really good. Now I am so curious. What are we on? We've got two. We've got two. We've got two. Those are the ones that I was worried about. Okay. Yes. It is all working properly. Everything is being distributed correctly. This is extremely good news. Now I guess just to be safe, let's also test and see if this top one is working. Okay, it has travelled off. We've got two in all of them. Now because I filled up the double chest, this will actually work a little bit faster because of course our hop minecart can grab the items a lot quicker. But this is all good. It looks like it is 3 all the way across. If I pop out to here, we should see that all of the items are flowing into this double chest really quite quickly. I absolutely love watching super smelters function. Nice one, nice one, nice one. Okay, so our super smelter is complete. The kelp creator is also complete. This is a very strange looking redstone contraption, but all of it is working properly. Gradually over time we should get a decent storage of dried kelp blocks that we can use within the super smelter. But there is one extra circuit that I've been debating about, and I think it would be fun to build and also incredibly useful. I absolutely love the kelp system. I think it works great, and I'm sure it will keep up with demand. But say we do a bunch of smelting and it uses up all the kelp blocks. This thing takes quite a long time to refill up. You know what doesn't? All of the bamboo. Like, I think we're always going to have a large quantity of bamboo. So as some emergency fueling, I might make a little hopper minecart station down here that can be requested with the press of a button by the super smelter, and it will come over and drop 5 stacks of bamboo planks off at the super smelter to be used as fuel. Each bamboo plank can smelt 3 items, so that's 15 stacks of items, which should hopefully be more than enough. Let's get to work on building this thing. So the first thing that I have to do is build up a minecart unloader up at the top here. So this should go something like this. I guess I don't want a regular rail there. I also need to be very careful of items dropping down into this minecart hopper. As long as there are items flowing through this hopper here, then our minecart rail will be unpowered. As soon as items stop flowing through the hopper, then the minecart rail will be powered. Pretty nice and easy. Okay, so that is our item unloader sorted. Now we just need to create the long minecart track, which is going to take all of our bamboo over to the super smelter. Now, I want this to be nice and fast because we're going to be using this in emergency situations, so I'm going all in on the powered rails. I also accidentally crafted a bunch of them in the previous Hermitcraft episode, so I have a bit of a surplus. So the minecart rail is all pretty much in place. This is the final section, so this winds its way around this area here and makes its way up along the edge of the sugarcane farm and then goes over to the super smelter. It looks pretty ridiculous, but in a cool industrial way. I'm finally having to buy some redstone. My redstone supplies from the previous episode have run out. They lasted an embarrassingly short amount of time, to be honest with you. I've decided I'm going to put the button here. There is no real reason as to why I'm putting the button here, but it feels like a good spot for it. And you know what? I'm gonna make the redstone line out of gold as well. It just feels right that an emergency redstone line would be made out of gold blocks. I don't know why. And I need to transition to the other side of the sugarcane farm, so that should work like that. And now I need to cover this up so that we don't lose a bunch of sugarcane. Cool, okay, and then our redstone line makes its way down here, and then we'll connect up with the minecart rail over there. It is amazing to me how messy this area is compared to like the perfectly manicured and well-made space that I've been working on for the past 20 or something episodes. It's almost like I've gone on a binge. You know, I've been caring so much about how everything looks over there that now it's just like this space. I just don't want to care in the slightest. I'm letting myself go. I'm letting loose. I'm going wild. I could build stuff out of diorite if I really wanted to. Right, let's see how well this goes. So I've got my hopper mine cart here, and that is going to sit underneath here. Cool, that should immediately start picking up bamboo. That is the beauty of these hopper mine carts. They work incredibly quickly. So if I fly over to this area and press the button, we should see our little rescue minecart making its way along. I don't know why this is so funny to me. Like, this is just the sort of silly redstone contraption that you build. But I don't even know how often I'm going to use this, but I kind of want to run out of kelp blocks often so that I get to use my emergency minecart system. Like, there's nothing stopping me just flying over to where the bamboo is. But it just feels so much better to have this set up right here. So there we go. All of the bamboo planks, they are being distributed between all of the furnaces in the super smelter. So they should be evenly split up. Obviously, currently they have coal on the inside of them. This is a false emergency. I'm actually fully fueled up. But then eventually, once all of the fuel runs out, then our little minecart should automatically travel off to where it came from. There it goes. It has done its duty, and it is literally going off into the sunset. This is probably the best thing I've ever made. Which makes me realise I have got a lot of contraptions that I need to add to the database. The database is this contraption right here, which stores all of my redstone contraptions. You could say it's like an extension of my brain, and I have not been keeping up with it in the slightest. I think the most recent contraption I added into the mix was contraption number 3, and I am genuinely curious what it actually is. It is the database. No way. Oh no, we've got the elevator. Of course, the 2-cart multi-item sorter, but that is as far as we have gone. Okay, we've got a lot of inventions to add. So, I've taken a look back through the archives, and now I have a whole bunch of books that I need to collect. I mean, I guess... Wait, I've got loads of leather, and I have a decent chunk of paper, but I have no feathers or ink. I'm assuming nobody sells just regular book and quills, do they? Book and quills are pretty high on the list of items in Minecraft that are, like, really useful, especially on multiplayer servers, but are just ridiculously annoying to gather the items for. So you never have them. They're frustrating to craft, but also they're not really profitable to sell in a shop. So nobody does. I definitely could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong. You guys seem to know more about the Hermitcraft server than I do. There is a chance there is a shop for this that I'm completely forgetting, but no. I don't think I'm wrong. Okay, fine, I'll murder the innocent animals. Why are there never squid when you want squid? Okay, that was actually a surprisingly successful massacre. Now I can't seem to find chicken. Or the world. Why does it have to be in the most precarious location a chicken has ever been? Finally, I'm all geared up. Invention number 6 was the Poe door, created on July the 20th, 2024. Garage door that retracts into the ground upon the shooting of a target. Future theme song may be installed by the Popo. Invention number 7 was the Iron Mine Vator, created on July the 30th. It's a carriage-style short elevator that descends potential customers into a foam mine where they collect iron. Invention number 8 is the Mine Thruster, created on August the 5th, 2024. A sound effect creator which builds the illusion of being deep in the mines despite only being 4 blocks under the ground. 009, Papercraft, crafts raw sugarcane into paper for use in firework rockets, the first invention of the industrial district. Then we come into the recent ones, the slim kelp farm that we built in the previous Hermitcraft episode, and finally, of course, all of the inventions that we came up with in today's Hermitcraft episode. So let's chunk all of those back into the mix. And now I'm finally going to create the index that is going to go in position 00. Oh, would you look at that? We have gone over to page number 2. We've been doing a lot of inventing lately. My brain is expanding, the database is getting bigger. I've really enjoyed this slightly old school Hermitcraft episode. This felt like an episode from season 7. I had a fairly simple objective that I've succeeded in completing in weird and wonky ways, and that is what my Hermitcraft episodes are all about. I hope that you've enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya! Welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft Season 10. This is episode 32? You would think I would check what episode number I was on before starting recording each time. What on earth is this thing? What is it doing on my mountain? It isn't going to explode into a bunch of skeletons? Do I now have a lightweight horse? Well, that's very exciting. Anyway, to start things off today, I want to issue a formal apology. In the previous Hermitcraft episode, I made a mathematical error. I was browsing through the Hermitcraft subreddit, I was checking out the posts, I saw a post about my little equations that I put in my title cards. I was very happy with them. And then I realised that I had managed to do a typo. I was double checking the maths so much, and I was making sure that I wasn't going to make a fool of myself so much that I didn't actually check the letters. And I mixed up my L's and my R's. You know, I thought I'd thrown some algebra into my Hermitcraft episodes, and I thought I would give the answer in the episode. That was a mistake. Shouldn't have done that because I proved myself stupid again. Oh my goodness, it gets worse and worse. Somebody's blown up the platypus. In case you think I've just said something really strange, a lot of people have pointed out that this looks like Perry the Platypus, and I can't help but agree. Gosh, this has been a strange start to the Hermitcraft episode. Should we start again? Welcome back to Hermitcraft Season 10. XP Crafted has sent me a message on Discord saying that I need to meet up and chat with him urgently, which is exciting. I don't speak to XP Crafted too often, but when I do, I always come away feeling happy. He's always laughing. He's like the smiliest guy ever. He never has a bad word to say about anyone, so this should be enjoyable. Oh, and he mentioned that he didn't want to meet in my base, but instead in my iron shop, which is interesting, but I'll head over there. Hello, how's it going?
Not. Do you see what's happened?
Wait, what? Notice metal contamination.
Look at how it's spread.
Yeah, I mean,
Momo.
okay. Oh yeah, no, I probably should have added some form of containment for
Right.
the iron.
Look, killing our flowers and.
Oh my goodness. Okay, no, that I do feel a little bit bad about.
Right, you do hear that sound.
Oh, it sounds.
You are aware of the sound.
I'm very aware of the sound. It sounds awesome.
Step inside here for a second, okay? What do you hear? What do you still hear the sound?
Oh, barely.
Oh,
just barely. I mean, just
so loud.
Barely. Look, when I first built it, it was a lot louder than this. I can promise you that. I moved the sound further down into the ground so that it wouldn't bother people. And look, look, move over to this side. Look, if you come over here, look, silence. Just don't stand in that corner. Like, why would you stand in that corner? There's nothing. Look, it's only golden carrots and golden apples. The two.
Only my most lucrative.
Yeah.
business.
Yes, arguably the two most important items in the shop. But that sounds like a you problem though. You're the one that put them over by I was there first, wasn't? No, you were definitely here first. Well,
I was definitely here.
The sounds are nice.
So you said,
industrial.
You say it's a me problem, right?
It could be.
Not to become a you problem.
They're just sounds. Industrial, lovely sounds. There's nobody.
You are completely just ignoring the fact that there is industrial.
Well, there is industrial spillage. Yeah, but it's industrial. Everyone loves industrial stuff, right? It's not just me that loves industrial
zone.
Yeah, but it's. Come on now. Come on.
I'm suing you. Is basically what I'm saying.
Oh, I see.
On your face, you have a gorgeous mustache.
It is good.
But
It is good.
You're going down.
Oh.
You're costing me money and customers and what's more important than money, Mumbo?
Here's the thing. I am on the opposite end of the spectrum in that I don't want people to shop in my shops.
You apparently don't want anybody shopping in anyone else's shop.
Look, you're the only person affected by this.
No, look, it's even dripping over here toward Jevin.
Oh, it is going over to Jeff.
Come here.
Wait, what? How is it going any further than this? There's no way it's going this far.
Jevon's got a new shop down here that nobody has shopped at because, come down.
It's probably quite loud down here. Oh gosh, yeah, no, it is pretty loud. But wait, but hang on a minute. Let me just raise another thing. This is a mining-based shop, is it not? Can we agree?
It is, but it's unsafe now.
Yeah, but because of mining sounds in a mine, we're in the mine.
It's
this
causing
is adding
through the ground and making it unsafe conditions.
This is adding to the mine aesthetic. I personally think I've improved Jevon's shop. In fact, you know what? Do I have any diamonds on me? No. No, I don't. Does he have an ender chest? No, he doesn't. This is why he's not getting the sales. This has nothing to do with me. Okay, I would have spent good money at Jevin's shop if it wasn't for his lack of ender chest, and it was purely because of the awesome sound effects that were reverberating extremely loudly, I may add, through his mind.
Well, I mean, I guess we're just gonna have to see what the judge has to say.
Oh gosh, who is the judge?
You know who I hired as my lawyer?
Oh gosh, who?
Oh, you're gonna find out. I mean, we still gotta write up the papers and serve you, and then we gotta schedule a court date. You gotta hire an attorney.
I do, yeah.
So.
This is a whole thing. Is there anything else that we can do? I've got some fine leaves that I can pay you. No. Can I interest you in any mangrove leaves?
You trying to?
No, look, I'm just giving you that sweet green.
You'll see what we're asking for.
Oh,
It'll all be in the legal documents that obviously your lawyer will understand every single word of it.
Gosh.
And it'll be great.
Well, I'm thrilled. I'm happy. I'm happy I logged onto the server today. Yep. Really happy. Really happy. You know what? Give me a second. I'm sorry, I'm stealing some bricks. You know what I think to your settlement?
You throwing bricks on me? At least, is there another patch?
No, there's a lot of bricks. There's 1 meter cube of bricks. It wasn't a single brick. It's a whole wall.
Stack of bricks. See you in court, sir. At least you're dressed for it.
Well, that didn't exactly go how I imagined. You know, now that he's left, I can officially say I'm a little bit cheesed off, and this is making me even more cheesed off. So, I'm getting sued. That's a thing. And while I absolutely 100% disagree with the lawsuit in its current form, I still think I should try and make this right in my own special way. I'm going to make it technically right. Okay, we'll need a few of these, that's good. Oh yeah, some of those. Oh, good grief. Okay, this should be everything that I need to make it so that XP Crafted can no longer hear my mind. Let's get to work on building. So while I will agree that you can hear my iron shop inside of XP Crafted's plant shop, I think we all agree it's not that loud, right? It's like, it could easily be drowned out by other sounds. And there's quite a large number of sounds that you can actually make in Minecraft. I mean, the sound of pistons. That's kind of noisy. Trapdoors. Oh yeah, trapdoors are pretty savage as well. We've got regular doors too. We can throw those into the mix. Oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's a nice touch. Do copper doors sound any different, or do they also sound the same? Oh yeah, no, they're different. Yeah, they're different. Maybe we could do with adding maybe a couple more pistons, because you know pistons aren't actually that loud anymore. Oh gosh, I've done the zoom thing again. Oh, this is torment. This is absolute torment. Oh, but now I've learned how to do it, and now I can seem like I'm pure evil. No factory to be heard. You wouldn't even know it was there. It's been completely covered up. I would say that this is a successful job. And look, the shopping experience is now incredibly pleasant, especially in this corner, which I know is the corner that XP was specifically worried about. I don't think this needs to go to court. I think we've actually come to a good resolution here. Oh, and I know what you're thinking. What about the contamination that is making its way to XP Crafted's place? Well, I have a solution for that as well. I would say this has gone perfectly. But I don't think that they now have anything to say against me. How can you assume? Look, I fixed everything. Look, a sign that says it's perfectly safe. That means it's perfectly safe, and you can no longer hear the factory from inside XP Crafted shop. Literally, there is no lawsuit. But just in case, I will be finding a lawyer. Now let's get away from that horrible noisy area before I go deaf. And on the topic of horrible areas, we need to talk about this area back here. I'm so glad I know what this button is. I'm so glad I'm able to use this. For the past 20-something episodes, I have been furiously right-clicking through these boxes looking for my resources. The town is completed. The housing for my storage system has been finished. Now I just need to build the storage system. So in case any of you are completely out of the loop on this one, this entire town is designed to be different areas of my storage system. So Big Ron's Tech Superstore is my redstone supplies, Willie's Woodyard is all of my wood supplies. This is going to be the input for my storage system. Then we've got Jill and bobs, bits and bobs. No, it's Jill and Bills. Jill and Bills, bits and bobs. That's all of my miscellaneous stuff. Then we've got the bank, which is all of my valuables. And finally, we've got the farm down at the bottom there, which is all of the farming supplies. I still haven't actually built up the farm building just yet because I want to connect it into the industrial district. But we can still build the storage. So now let's take a look at the storage system that I designed many, many weeks ago. Honestly, I have no clue what Faststone is. I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what I was testing. And frankly, I'm scared to click on the world. So here is the brains of the operation. This is called a multi-item sorter, and it is a 2 minecart system. It is as simple as I could possibly make it because I leave the Hermitcraft server a lot when important things are happening. I also often work in fairly remote locations with shaky internet to say the least. I'm actually currently connected to the server using a mobile hotspot. Definitely not ideal. So I designed this system in a way that it wouldn't completely destroy itself if it was unloaded in an unpredictable fashion. I didn't want to have to constantly be dealing with relocating and replacing minecarts. So the 2 hop minecarts should do the trick. And as I say, this is a multi-item sorter. It sorts out different categories of items. And you can see down at the bottom here, these are the outputs for those different categories. The system works really nicely. And instead of having chests down here, these would be item lines that take those items over to their various different shops in the town. Now, just to be clear, I only put these assorted items in as a test, but in theory, we can have a full double chest's worth of different types of items, which is probably more than enough for most item categories. If you want to see the video where I designed all of this and you want to know more about how it functions, I will put a link to that video down in the description. Hopefully, if I remember. It's a cool video. This is a contraption that I'm very proud of, and I'm excited to get it constructed and working on the Hermitcraft server. But first, we may have found our lawyer.
Mr. Jumbo.
Hello, Ren. I have found myself in some slight legal trouble. Okay.
Ooh.
And I am holding auditions for a lawyer because that's how you find lawyers, right? Like that's how it's done. You just audition.
Yeah, you definitely just have auditions. They're on a stage.
Yeah.
They've got to dress
Audience.
up in, like,
the whole
there's
thing.
an audience and everything.
Yeah, wigs.
And you have like 1 to 10 numbers that you hold up.
Yeah. So I thought I'd quickly audition you, because
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Is that cool?
Sure.
I'm gonna hit you with a hypothetical crime. Okay, and then
Okay.
I am going to give you like, let's say 30 seconds maybe to come up with a quick fire defense, and we'll
Oh
see.
my goodness.
We'll
Like an
see.
opening statement or something?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know the law terms, to be
Okay.
honest with you, mate.
Okay.
I've never really done this before. So here's how it goes. All right, I'm going to do this seriously. Your Honour, do I say that? No, I don't say that to the lawyer. Dearest lawyer, hypothetically, dearest lawyer, hypothetically, I threw a brick through someone's window with them present and started maniacally laughing.
How hypothetical is this?
It's pretty hypothetical.
I'm your lawyer, man, but you can tell me, dude. You can tell me.
Okay, it may have actually happened, and I may need a defense for this specific argument. Okay, that might be something
Okay.
that has occurred very recently, and I might have recorded it myself.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so here we go. Opening statement, right?
Okay. Oh, yeah, elevated. That's always good.
There is only one thing that matters when it comes to the law,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the truth.
Oh wow.
Mr. Mumbo Jumbo has been accused of a heinous act of vandalization.
Yeah.
But I ask you, is there any evidence? The prosecution will try to convince you that this face is guilty just from the mustache alone.
Oh.
But I tell you that all that matters in the eyes of the law is evidence.
Right.
And in this case, there is none.
Wow. That's
I rest my
amazing.
case.
That's incredible.
Oh, excellent. Well, it's only 500 an hour, so, you
Oh
know.
gosh, okay. I'm leaving. Okay, that's enough legal defense stuff. Let's dig a big hole. Where did I leave my beacon hole? Oh, what? I took all of the gold out. Can't believe I'm having to do this. So now with my beacon back in position, it is time to start mining. That was the input chest for the system. So I guess everything gets constructed down here somewhere. I probably should have looked into how big this design was going to be. I feel like this build fits within that awkward range of being both bigger and smaller than you expect. Yeah. definitely. Things are coming along well. I think this is about the right size. I just need a little bit more height. And now we have all of the space required for our multi-item sorter. So now let's gather up all of the resources. I think I have realised who XP Crafted's lawyer is. Oh gosh. I don't know if I'm ready to go to court against Doc. Doc can sometimes scare me in a perfectly nice conversation, let alone when he's trying to send me to prison. But regardless, it seems like XP Crafted has found my shenanigan, and he has referred to it as a shenanigan, which means I don't know if I've solved the problem. I think there's a chance I'm still going to court. What's even more embarrassing is I've just sent Doc a message asking if he wanted to audition to be my lawyer. I might still audition him, but just to get a feel for the competition. I'm not against being a mole. There's loads of resources in here, I promise. I've collected them. I'm being serious. I think it's time that we now go and build this thing. And actually, this machine wasn't quite as daunting to construct as I was expecting. Firstly, I was using Lightmatica to build it, obviously, which, you know, makes things quite a lot easier. You'd kind of be quite daft if you managed to mess up building a redstone contraption using Lightmatica. I really hope that this doesn't come back to bite me at some point in the near future. But the actual machine itself is really quite simple. And I did want to resist saying that because there are quite a lot of complexities to it. But effectively, all you're doing is checking to see if an item is inside a hopper minecart. And if the item is inside the hopper minecart, then you stop the minecart and get the items out of it. And of course, there's like a few extra bits going on with the moving of unstackable items and then refilling the minecart and making sure that the minecart doesn't get too full, but it has enough items in it to actually be useful, and all sorts of item recirculation stuff and all sorts of safety features to stop the machine from breaking. But effectively, that is all this thing is doing. So now that the machine is all built and completed, let's have another audition for a lawyer.
Hello, Mr. Mambo.
Hello, Joel.
I saw that you decided you're not going to cover up that bamboo, whatever that farm is.
Oh, what this beautiful industrial district that you can now see.
Yeah, did you say you just can't be bothered, or was that it really?
No, yeah, I think it's just, I'm going to keep improving it. I'm going to keep adding more and more industrial farms, and hopefully they'll start making their way over to this area. I think, like, I've kind of earmarked this whole corner here, like.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that good?
I won't go much further. Yeah, I won't go any further than that. Then.
I'm joking. No, it's going to be covered.
I was like, yeah, sure, go for it. I was like, just being polite, but yeah, you could get out of there with that. Okay, good.
Well, this is actually good. Your people pleaser skills might actually serve you well here, because you see, I've got myself in some legal trouble, and I'm looking to do some auditions for lawyers.
Yeah, what you paid? That's the first question I'm going to ask.
Oh my goodness, everyone keeps coming in with the payment questions, and honestly, that's not something that I've really thought of. I'm going to hit you with a hypothetical crime, okay? And you have to come up with like a quick fire defense. I'll give you like 20-30 seconds to think about it.
Okay.
So, hypothetical crime. I threw a brick through a window in front of someone and started laughing maniacally.
And what's the crime? Just damage of property?
What do you mean, what's the crime?
Is it just damage of property? I don't know, like, did the brick hit anyone as well? Like, I need to know these things. Come on.
Oh, wow, okay, alright, okay, these are good questions. These are questions that I hadn't thought of. No, the brick did not hit anyone. It is purely,
that's good.
It's just gone through the window, but it wasn't a singular brick. It was like a whole block of bricks. I don't know if that changes things.
And the person who saw it, do we know them?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, can we pay them off? Not that I'm a dirty lawyer, but just hypothetically, of course, we're talking hypothetically.
Hypothetically, I tried.
Okay, right, so... and they said no?
And they did say no. And they very much mentioned the fact that I was trying to bribe them, which is, yeah, not what you want. You don't want them to recognise the bribe, ideally.
My defence for you would be...
Okay.
Plea bargain, honestly, like you are screwed for that. There's no way you're winning that crime, because you need to talk to the judge. Maybe we could like settle this out of court. I don't know. I mean, it's not looking good for you from my legal experience.
Right. Okay.
Or
yeah,
I could try bribe them.
Oh yeah.
Say that could be another method.
Okay, I like the way you think. This has been a positive audition, much better than Ren. Okay, Ren just started coming in saying that there was no evidence, which is a bit of a bad defense. When there's quite a don't know if this is going well. Regardless of that, this thing is going well. I'm so happy that there is an end in sight for my horrific chest monster. Let me just give you a tour of all of the different locations. So we've got that chest monster there. We're all familiar with that. We've got a micro chest monster right here. We've got another chest monster over here, but I also happen to know that I have a bunch of redstone supplies over in this area as well. I keep a handful of building supplies up at the top here. In fact, there's loads of good stuff up here. I always forget about this one. And there's this chest over here that I haven't checked for a while. It's got loads of stuff in it. Wait, what? There is another one as well. There's this one. This is almost my organic building supplies chest monster. I mean, it's getting out of hand. It is genuinely getting out of hand. Look how much jungle wood is stored up in here. And mud. This is all stuff. Oh, and these leaves as well. And with the Zalia. This is all stuff that I go out and gather because I assume I've always run out of it. But I actually have a bunch of the stuff. So, in the next Hermitcraft episode, I will be hooking everything up. There's a few things that I need to work out about how I'm actually going to transport the items, how I'm actually going to store the items in the building. It's...
Are you delusional? Are you? Okay, so what reality do you live in where it is okay? There is zero justification for beating the fuck out of someone. Dumb shit like that. I'm like, seriously, what? Server has been like, oh fuck me, what? Like, you treat me like that. I don't know against that actually.
It's not quite as simple as you would...
I don't like Hermitcraft. It bores me.
I wanted to jump on here real quick to talk about Minecraft Live. Minecraft Live is occurring in a few weeks' time. This is, of course, the second show of the year. The first show gave us the Spring to Life drop, and subsequently the Summer drop with the Happy Ghast. There's a lot of speculation, a lot of things occurring around the rumor mill, and I wanted to address a couple of these things right now. First of all, you can see yesterday Minecraft tweeted something about the pre-show, and you can submit your own things to be featured potentially in the pre-show. So if you want to do that, go right ahead. So I guess this is the flame that's sparking everything right now. Though something was recently discovered and sent to me by Potato Man. This is the Espanol Minecraft Live website back in March 28 of 2025. This has been here for quite some time. You can see here it's pretty old, it's been backdated here. Minecraft Live 2025, the spring show, and I can go all the way down to the FAQ. Allow me to zoom in here. So, what is Minecraft Live? You don't need to expand this question. When will Minecraft Live take place? If you expand this, what does it say? It says Minecraft Live will be held virtually on September 22nd, 2025, beginning at 1 p.m. Eastern. What's the deal with this thing here? Why is it saying September 22nd? If we go over to wincalendar.com, September 22nd appears to say that it's a Monday. I wouldn't be ready to assume that Minecraft Live is going to occur on a Monday. It's pretty pretty unlikely if you ask me. So what has happened? Why are they saying September 22nd? Well, I believe this is a mistake. What has more than likely happened is that the first show, Minecraft Live 2025, happened on the 22nd of March. And whoever wrote this wrote September for some reason. If there's anyone telling you that this is going to be the date, just let them know that it's probably wrong. What I really wanted to come on to talk about is this random thing that I'm seeing on r/PhoenixSC right now. New leaked images from the Minecraft Live after show. So this was posted by Breakcheek once again onto r/PhoenixSC, so this is just topical now. What are they calling these? End posts? The Minecraft End update will be announced on September 22nd. Here is why. Oh my god, what is this? September equinox affecting your circadian rhythm, hormonal changes, end update confirmed. Yeah, let's upvote this one. So this is your typical after show. You got Vubui and Agnes on the bottom left, and these images will tell you exactly what we're getting. So we've got Agnes opening a chest here. Looks like we have a new plant, a new sapling on the windowsill sitting inside a vase. Vu is holding 7 coconuts inside his selected item slot, a new wood type perhaps. Lots of details to unpack. Let's go to the next image here. And oh look, we have a crab leashed to a fence. We have Agnes here looking kind of glum at it. I don't know. Must be because the poor guy is stuck on the fence. I think in the offhand here we can see a crab claw, and looks like Agnes might be holding a crab claw as well. Okay, we'll keep going. Live gameplay screenshots. We've got the crab claw. Still have 7 coconuts here. We've got the new wood type. Items being moved in and out. Looks like there are new arrows, new boat type. This looks very exciting. We shall continue. Got a lot of images to get through. Looks like they're testing out the new arrows. That is not the spectral arrow. The spectral arrow is completely yellow, so lots to anticipate. We shall keep going here. And oh my god, we've got the new cow variants. We have the coconut that's been cracked open. We've got a filled coconut. We've got an empty coconut. Still have 7 coconuts. That appears to be relatively consistent throughout this thing. We have all these cow variants. We've got the piss cow over there. So they're building on these mob boats that we've been asking for. And then some more. Can't really imagine what they're trying here, but it looks like they're doing a lot for us. Things are on top of the agenda. And oh my god, what's going on now? What's going on now? We're in the stronghold. New flaming arrow. Looks like we're about to enter the end dimension. I don't know what's going on. What is that facial expression here, Agnes? Is that the same face that you pulled in this one? Oh, wow. That's interesting. What is this? A new end-type block, new functionalities, new dimension, new sky. Oh, this must be the vibrant visuals they're talking about. Plants, trees growing everywhere, new blocks, the end crystal above an eye of Ender. I won't dwell here, let's keep going. Vertical slabs being mined by an emerald pickaxe, emerald sword, Agnes wearing emerald armor. This is escalating really quickly. Let's move on. Oh, don't want to show that. And now we've got some firearms. So this is why Mojang been banning guns all along in their game. It's because they had plans to add it themselves. Guns in the first and second slot. We've got a tank. They're raiding a village. New village raid feature. Alright, so there's a lot. This is a big update. It's not a drop. It's a real update. Oh my god, we've got a natural disaster happening in front of us. Blocks, twigs, leaves, items being thrown in the air. We've got twisters happening now. Oh, probably shouldn't show that either. Oh, now we're mining something that appears to be rather radioactive. Okay, glowing ingots, and they're very enthusiastic right now. Yeah, Shield is really gonna do something here. I think you need to try something a little more drastic. Alright, and then he's dead. Alright, I'm gonna go all the way back here. So, you can tell that, just from looking at these images, that this is clearly fake. These images were taken, of course, from the previous show, so you need not look far to see that none of these faces are from unseen footage. Anyway, not saying that this update won't happen, I'm just telling you that it's probably not going to happen. But enjoy the end posts on the subreddit as we lead up to the show. They're very high effort, but do expect that they will happen rather frequently now. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, there was this beach post. What are we going to do about this one? It's clearly nothing, right? No relation to what we just watched in the last 4 minutes. The end update is cancelled. Wait, what? When did this happen? 6:45 a.m. August 1st or 8th of January, I don't know. Twitter for iPhone. Yeah, no one's falling for this. Proof. Honestly, this entire thing has just gone fever pitch. I have not actually is a new snapshot today. I'm gonna go over that in a moment. But first, I found myself back on the Bedrock preview with the Smurf skin still. They added a change here in Bedrock Edition that hasn't appeared on Java, which I think it will be a good idea for them to add to Java Edition. We have a copper golem here. You can see that he's entering a room with a chest inside it. In addition to that, there is a door, and you can see that they can finally fit through 1-block openings with a door in it as well. And that's because Mojang have now shrunken their hitbox a little bit so they can fit through. I don't know why he's not leaving it. Alright, come out. Come out. Alright, he's coming out now. Okay, close the door. Alright, he's going back inside. He opens the door. He still kind of struggles, a bit funky, but he's gonna leave the room whenever he wants to. Doesn't have to be a regular chest outside this room. We've been wanting Mojang to change this for quite some time. They've now done that. However, this change is only available on Bedrock right now. The hitbox shrinking is on Java Edition, but they cannot open copper doors. They can open copper doors on Bedrock Edition. So, back on Java Edition, this is snapshot 25W34B. There was a 34A iteration, but this iteration is just for a Realms fix. They have updated the panorama, as you can see. We now have copper golem statues. I think that one's a statue featured inside a plains biome. They seem to be updating the panorama rather frequently now, given that we've got drops on a frequent basis. However, we have a few changes that I want to show you before I jump on the server. I don't really know where my end flash has gone in this snapshot. You can see that the end island does appear pink, but the flash is gone. In the accessibility settings, there is now hide sky flashes, not hide lightning. If you turn this on, that will disable that pink tint that you see all over the end. Yes, so you can still hear the sound like lightning, but the tint is gone. So, the second thing is, what I have here in my hotbar, we have the new command, fetch profile. And what this does is it allows you to grab the profile information of any player you want. So for example, on the stream I did Fundy, and after a while it loads that into the game, and that allows you to give yourself the player head of that exact name. So we have the profile UID, we have the name Fundy, run the command, and now you have the player head in your world. This is exactly the same thing as doing player head and then profile. However, doing this does cause a bit of lag, so you can see that it doesn't give you the player head immediately. There is a noticeable latency between running the command and getting the data information. After about 2 seconds, it loads in. So preloading is always handy. It's a good addition to the game. And finally, I wanted to take a bit of time to talk about the new code of conduct thing for Minecraft servers. Essentially what it is when you try to log into a server with a code of conduct, it will show you a bit of text that you have to acknowledge or not acknowledge, after which if you don't, you'll get disconnected. If you acknowledge, you can go into the server. You know, sometimes when you log into a server and there's like a wall of text written on signs most of the time, and you have to read it, follow the rules. This is a very neat in-game alternative to that. So if I disconnect, and I've just changed it and restarted it, so if I go back in and you can see what's going on. It's not centered. You can see there are some control characters there that shouldn't really be there. I'm sure Mojang will fix this at some point. It's just showing that it's a new line.
Server code of conduct. According to all known laws of aviation, there is no way a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small to get its fat little body off the ground. The bee, of course, flies anyway because bees don't care what humans think is impossible. Yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow, black.
Well, as you can see, it's compatible with narrator. I've got a whole script going on. This is the B-movie script. I've just tacked it on to the server code of conduct. The server properties file has been updated to include a line. There is a line here for enable code of conduct. You just make that true. And then if you go into code of conduct, which is a new directory, and you have a file called en_us.txt or your local language, you plug in whatever you like. You can have fun with this. It doesn't have to be anything serious. Although I think that's the main intention here. I have the near entirety of the B-movie script. There is a limit to the number of characters that you can put in, which is obviously the 16-bit integer limit, after which your game will crash. Still a lot of text, but you know, you never need to do this. And so the flexibility is there if you decide that you wanted to mess with it. Someone's gonna make this animated at some point, right? Somehow.
General consensus is that
A few months ago, when I asked 30 Zelda content creators what they wanted to see in the next big mainline 3D Zelda game, there was one answer more common than any other: better dungeons. This was one of the most prevalent criticisms of Breath of the Wild back when it launched in 2017. that the abandonment of the traditional Zelda formula by breaking up the larger thematic dungeons into the 4 divine beasts and the bite-sized shrines spread across the map left some players feeling underwhelmed, like a big part of what made them love Zelda was missing from this new iteration. So, naturally, when a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild was announced, proper Zelda dungeons were among the most often discussed wishes for the game. Wishes that it seemed like the Zelda team had listened to. In an Ask the Developer interview shortly before Tears of the Kingdom's release, Satoru Takizawa noted that making a wide variety was pretty challenging. The 4 divine beasts were the dungeons in the last game, and they shared similar designs. This time, the dungeons are huge and each carry their own regional look and feel, just like traditional The Legend of Zelda games. We think they'll provide a satisfying challenge for players. They were certainly a challenge.
Yeah, they were a challenge to develop because you had to fucking actually, because you could use anything to scale them. They were a challenge? I fucking wonder why. You have to create a dungeon that you can't just cheese with all the utilities you have in your arsenal. I mean, shit, you could cheese like 90% of this fucking game. Genuinely. Like, you had to take away ceilings, for instance. You had to take away ceilings. One, you had to take away ceilings. You couldn't, like, yeah, well. Yeah, like, no wonder it's fucking difficult for you. Like, no wonder it's difficult. Just as it was difficult to develop does not mean it was a good game. It does not make it good. Like, okay, so first, let's just clear something up. Just because something's hard to develop does not mean it's a good game. I just want to put that out there. Okay. Secondly, what the fuck? Yes, it was going to be hard to develop. It's pretty fucking hard to develop when you have to account for all of Link's abilities he has now. His cheesy ass abilities he has now. You know. Those dungeons were mid as fuck. None of them, I can barely remember them, to be honest with you. There's nothing interesting about them. Actually, as lame as it turned out to be, the concept of the flying ship was actually pretty cool. I liked it. But it's so fucking lame playing there. There's nothing fun about it. The boss is boring. It looks like a fucking Warframe villain entity thing. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. It's just a big old monster, right? You know, and I can say the same. Yeah, I fucking wonder why. Dumbass.
Challenge to develop. So, did they succeed in fixing Breath of the Wild's dungeon problem? No.
Yes.
While clear step.
Yes. Thank you. The simple know it.
the Wild's dungeon problem? No.
Simple. Simple no. Fuck no.
While clear steps were made to improve on the monotonous divine beasts and Sheikah shrines, Tears of the Kingdom's dungeons still fall far below the standards set by previous Zelda games. They still don't fully realise the goal of blending traditional Zelda dungeons with the series' new open-air overworld. And since we know that the next big 3D Zelda will follow in Tears of the Kingdom's footsteps as another open-air adventure, it seems that, in order to truly meet Zelda fans' expectations, it needs to make another attempt at solving this problem. So let's talk about it. First, we need to recognise that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom both sold an astronomical amount of copies. Enough that there must be many Zelda fans who've never played any of the older games in the series, and don't really know what a Zelda does older games. Enough that they're... So let's talk about it. First, we need to recognise that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom both sold an astronomical amount of copies. Enough that there must be many Zelda fans who've never played any of the older games in the series, and don't really...
You shouldn't call yourself a Zelda fan if you only played, seriously, only played Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It's just insulting. It's honestly just insulting to people that have actually put a lot of their time towards the Zelda franchise, that genuinely love the franchise. It's very insulting. Don't do that. Don't be one of those. Don't be one of those people. Don't do that. Don't be one of those people. You like Zelda? Sure. You like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom? Sure. Gotcha, man. Don't say you're a fan. If you haven't played the prior franchise or you really haven't seen anything, I would... No, that is so insulting. I find that very insulting. Very insulting. Because, who are you? First of all, you've played one Zelda game. Alright, you don't, no. Stop saying you're a fan. You're not a fan. Shut the fuck up. Respectfully, be quiet. Respectfully, be quiet. No, you're not a fan of the game franchise. Respectfully, you are not a fan of the franchise. You're a fan of those games unless you've played or, watched. I would call yourself a fan. That's just terribly insulting to the community. I'd say that's just terribly insulting to me. Because it's like, what do you get off on calling yourself a fan when I've been sticking this shit since I was a child? I played like 90% of the games. I played every single Zelda game. Not saying, but like, you gotta know. Nah, brother, I'm gatekeeping that shit. You can fuck right off. Nah, brother, I'm gonna gatekeep that shit, actually. No, thank you. No, stop.
Know what a Zelda dungeon actually is. To a huge chunk of the community, the people the Zelda team will be aiming the next game at, this isn't and has never been a problem, as open-air Zelda is all they know. Zelda dungeons have been at the heart of the series since the very beginning. 1986 is The Legend of Zelda, whose map was split into an open overworld and a tight, enclosed underworld. The design philosophy was that the players could freely explore Hyrule above, discover secrets in caves, battle enemies in the open plains, but the true progression was locked underground, in 9 subterranean dungeons. Each dungeon had a unique colour scheme and was packed with enemies, and, given it was the NES, some simple puzzles. They each contained an item which changed how Link played, like the raft which allowed him to cross small sections of water, or the bow that allows him to attack at range, and had a boss, which must be defeated to obtain a piece of the Triforce. Though Zelda 1 introduced this idea, it was really a Link to the Past that cemented the formula for Zelda dungeons that would endure up until the modern era. Though each subsequent game's dungeons differed in regards to gameplay mechanics, art style, and story importance, they all largely followed the blueprints of A Link to the Past, that being a series of rooms filled with puzzles or enemies, with progression locked behind keys, where Link unlocks a significant item which will allow him to complete the rest of the dungeon and defeat the boss. Breath of the Wild, of course, then broke these conventions, instead featuring
I would just like to say,
scaring me.
The 4 divine beasts, which functioned somewhat like dungeons, and well over 100 shrines, mini-dungeons scattered around the massive overworld. While this new formula certainly has many advantages, overall, the general sentiment seems to be that it feels less satisfying than a traditional set of dungeons. So we need to answer the question, what makes traditional Zelda dungeons good and the newer ones bad? Obviously, there are many reasons, and they'll differ depending on who you ask. I could talk about Zelda dungeons for hours, but for the sake of keeping this video simple, I'll focus on 2 of the most important issues with modern Zelda dungeons: identity and complexity. Let's start with identity. And where better to begin than with my favourite Zelda dungeon as an example, Ocarina of Time's Forest Temple. Link first encounters the Forest Temple when he's a child, when he finds Saria in her favourite spot, playing her song in the heart of the sacred forest meadow. She's sitting in the shadow of great, overgrown ruins, ominous, enticing, but for now, inaccessible. When Link returns to the meadow as an adult and can use the hookshot to enter these ruins, he discovers that they're far more than just the archway he saw as a child. It leads into an ancient, forgotten mansion, consumed by the forest surrounding it. Everything from the empty, carpeted stone corridors to the haunting, ethereal music that plays here builds on the mystery of this place. Something once majestic, powerful, now slipping back into nature. Crucially, this atmosphere, this theme, is different to every other dungeon in the game. The Forest Temple stands out because it is singular, completely separate from the fire, water, shadow, or spirit temples. It has its own distinct identity. Compare this to Breath of the Wild's 4 divine beasts. While their design is incredible, having Link explore the innards of a great mechanical beast, it quickly grows stale. All 4 of them have the exact same ancient Chica design, the same variety of enemies, the same terminal structure, and almost the same boss. If the player knows what to expect before they've entered a dungeon, some of the magic is lost. It might seem shallow, but the theme and identity of a Zelda dungeon is often as important as its puzzles or enemies. And this seems to have been acknowledged by the Zelda team when developing Tears of the Kingdom. As Takizawa said, the sequel's dungeons carry their own regional look and feel. This is kind of true. The 5 main dungeons are definitely more distinct from one another than the Divine Beasts, but they still suffer from the same problems. While they have regional twists, at their core they're still just elemental variations of the same Zonai architecture, populated with the same construct enemies, solved with the same method of activating terminals. While some effort has clearly been taken to differentiate them, it hasn't worked well enough. The 4 main elemental dungeons outside of the Spirit Temple all fall into the same category of ancient place built by the Zonai once used by the native people of this region. They just don't feel as thematic as traditional Zelda dungeons, and that's something that the next entry in the series needs to address. The next overworld we explore needs to contain a selection of dungeons that are visually and thematically distinct from one another, to capture some of the magic older Zelda dungeons once did. If a game from 1998 can evoke such a powerful sense of mystery and awe, then the dungeons we see in the modern era should too. This issue isn't limited to the main dungeons of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, however. Far from it. The sheer lack of thematic variety is showcased best by the game's shrines. I'll go on record here saying that I love shrines. I expect that they will return in the sequel, and I absolutely think that they should. They serve to break up the gigantic overworld into chunks, with each shrine serving as something of a checkpoint, and I absolutely loved scouring through these games in search of them. However, they're perhaps the best example of the theming issue in these games' dungeons. The Shrines of Trials in Breath of the Wild and the Shrines of Light in Tears of the Kingdom are all so mind-numbingly monotonous. Breaking dungeons into bite-sized chunks scattered across the world is a brilliant concept, but in execution, it comes at the cost of the atmosphere and classic dungeon charm. These environments are so sterile, and, for a lack of a better term, video gamey, with absolutely none of the magic the temples of old. So in the next open-air Zelda, I think we not only need to see a return to a set of main dungeons that are as distinct from one another as possible, but a different approach to shrines too. Like I said, I would love to see this idea return in some way, as I do think it really works to gamify travelling through these giant worlds, to break them up into manageable chunks by serving as rewards for exploring. But whatever shrines we see next need to be something more exciting and more varied than those of the Wild era. Perhaps by having more distinct regional themes, or by being found in the overworld itself rather than in a separately loaded area. Let's talk about the next issue, complexity, or rather the challenge that each dungeon poses to the player. But before we do, a quick word from this video's sponsor. In Zelda, even the trains are fun, largely thanks to Spirit Track's majestic overworld theme. Trains in real life are not as enjoyable. Unless you've got Raycon Everyday Earbuds Classic. Raycon were kind enough to sponsor this video and send me a pair of their Everyday Earbuds Classic, which are now my go-to choice for high-quality sound on the move. They've got a tiny footprint, they're protected in a clamshell charging case, which you can further defend with these beautiful case covers, and they pack a punch, delivering comparable sounds to premium earbuds, of course with active noise cancellation, at a more affordable price. A huge thank you to Raycon for sponsoring this video. If you want to pick up your own Everyday Earbuds Classic, head to buyraycon.com/ZelticYT for 20% off. That's buyraycon.com/ZelticYT. Zelda games are designed to be approachable, with a near universal appeal. That said, the challenge posed by most of the dungeons, and many of the shrines, in the Wild era games seems out of sync with the difficulty of the games as a whole. They often feel too easy, especially compared to the challenges found in the world itself. Of course, the main focus of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is traversing Hyrule. That's the main gameplay loop. That's the soul of these games. But because of this emphasis, it feels like, too many times, these games' dungeons are less exciting, less challenging than the environment they're found in. The most egregious examples of this issue are found in Tears of the Kingdom, such as how a significant number of its shrines are simply tutorials for particular Zonai devices. There's no real challenge here at all. These aren't dungeons, they're lessons, and the shrines are therefore little more than glorified teleport locations. But this isn't a problem with the concept of shrines themselves. There are examples of shrines found in these games that are truly excellent, to the point where just playing them is a reward in itself. Like the Maka-Ra shrine in Breath of the Wild, Steady Thy Heart, not only found in a secret cave, but containing a proper mini-dungeon, with multiple challenging rooms. Again, I'm not advocating for extreme difficulty here, just enough to make the player feel challenged. In this way, the overworld would not only be how Link gets to the dungeon, dungeons, but how he prepares for them too, building up resources, strength, and skill before delving into the darkness to face whatever lurks there. One way to make the next game's dungeons and shrines feel more challenging and significant would simply be to make them longer. Many of the Wild Era games' dungeons, like Tears of the Kingdom's Wind and Water Temples, are extremely short, and the same goes for a huge number of the shrines too. Entering a dungeon or discovering a shrine loses some of its magic if you know that there's a good chance you'll be done with it in 5 minutes, hardly long enough to immerse yourself. Part of this problem seems to come from the fact that there are just so many shrines, leading to the feeling that the content has been spread thin throughout them. I'd much prefer to see the next game include a smaller number of solid, lengthy shrine challenges, like Makara, than a larger number that's padded out with short, weak ones. Still plenty to spread across the map, but a small enough number to prevent them becoming stale. Another major issue with the challenge of these modern games is how easy it is to break their puzzles. This is a central idea to how these games are designed. They front-load the player with all the tools they'll need for their adventure and set them loose.
I get that it sounds like a great plan on paper. Like, oh, you get to solve the puzzles, so the puzzles won't be too hard or too easy. Well, it doesn't exactly play out. Just solve the puzzles any way you want it. Well, what ends up happening is the puzzles are not unique, they're not fun, they're just boring, you know? And it's just like, how did you not play this shit back and think, wow, this is a pretty fucking mid-ass Zelda game. Like, maybe that's how you played. And, you know, I'm talking about Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild is a fucking disgrace, pal. I don't know who the fuck tested that game and thought, wow, this is an amazing Zelda game. It's a good game, don't get me wrong. It's just not a fucking good Zelda game. It's not a good Zelda game. Seriously, what the fuck were you thinking? Did y'all never play past 3D Zelda ever? Or y'all even fans of the franchise? I don't know. I don't fucking think any of you are. To be honest, I don't think any of you fucking are. I think most of you are fakes. Y'all don't even fucking. I don't even think the devs play the fucking Zelda games to begin with. Because if you did, and you're a fan of them, you wouldn't have made this fucking slop. You wouldn't have made this slop. You know, I'm just like, wow. You know, it is what it is. It's come out. It's a part of the Zelda franchise now. You know, I have to accept it as much as I hate it. I have to accept it as much as I hate it. But I'm gonna express my discontent with it. You know, so I have to accept it as much as I hate it. It's a good game, you know, it's just not a Zelda game, like, at all. I mean, if you've played past Zelda games, you know, like, this is not Zelda. This is not fucking Zelda. If you argue otherwise, you're delusional. I'd argue you're pretty fucking delusional. I'd argue you're, delusional. I would argue that you are, in fact, delusional. Wow. Holy shit. Jump from 17 to 25. Fuck.
Any problem they encounter can be solved in any way they like. If it works, it's not wrong. To a certain extent, this works really well. It's incredibly satisfying to conjure up your own way to scale a cliff or defeat a camp of enemies. But when it comes to the game's puzzles, I find that after a while, I miss more structured, rigid ones with fixed solutions. I miss being given the pieces and having to work out the right way to put them together. Many of the puzzles in these games are like doing a crossword that lets you fill in any word in any place. You'll complete it quickly and feel really smart, but it's just not as satisfying. The most offensive examples of this are where abilities like recall or zonai vehicles can be used to skip traversing massive sections of dungeons. Once the player figures this out once, there's nothing to stop them doing it every time the game calls for them to cross a distance. Comparing this to even the easiest dungeons in Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, which, while simple, still require the player to find the correct answers to their puzzles, it's a night and day difference. Shrines and dungeons posing significant challenges would give Link more reason to explore the world around them, to gain the strength needed to conquer it, and in doing so would make the dungeons themselves feel earned and memorable, not just obligatory content that often feels like it's only included because we expect it to be. Shrines and dungeons should test the player's abilities and be the real core of the game's difficulty. Now, I've been very careful to avoid talking about one particular Zelda game in this video, the most recent take on the new open Zelda formula, Echoes of Wisdom. And that's because I think Echoes of Wisdom really does come close to landing a perfect balance between old and new. Every one of its dungeons are uniquely themed, with their own music, styles, bosses, and story significance. And many of them, especially the Faron and Lanayru temples, are complex and relatively difficult. Like the two Wild-era Zelda games, the player is given an exceptionally powerful set of sandbox tools. However, this time, the game makes an effort to prevent most of its puzzles being solved too easily. Granted, there are still examples of this issue here, such as in Jabul Ruins, where a Crawlchilla Echo can skip gigantic portions of the dungeon, but it's a step in the right direction. And if it's a sign of where the Zelda team might take the series, I think it's a good one. Overall, I'm a massive fan of the open-air Zelda formula. Games which give you a world to explore and the freedom to explore it however you want. I'm really excited to see what's next. A game that we know will follow Breath of the Wild's formula. And I think that if it learns some lessons from what Zelda has already accomplished, by including a set of dungeons and shrines with unique themes and genuine complexity that pose a real challenge to the player, we'll finally see this new approach to Zelda reach its full potential. But what do you think? What do you want to see from dungeons in the next 3D Zelda game? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a like, and subscribe if you haven't already for more Zelda content. And, of course, a massive thank you to Raycon for sponsoring this video. If you want to grab your own pair of Everyday Inputs Classic, head to buyraycon.com/ZelticYT. Cheers guys, and I'll see you next time. With Tears of the Kingdom now actually on the horizon with a release date next year, what better time to look back at Breath of the Wild's world and its secrets? Zelda games are deliberately ambiguous with their storytelling. The lore of the series is intricate and fascinating, but rarely is it explicitly told or shown to the player. Instead, a lot of the world building comes from piecing together little secrets and hints, and nowhere is this more important than in Breath of the Wild. Hyrule is ruined, but the story of the kingdom's fall happens a century before Link's adventure, so the details of this catastrophe are discovered only through memory cutscenes, item descriptions, some character dialogue, and the world itself. Let's have a look back at Breath of the Wild and cover 100 little secrets that help us piece together the game's lore and Hyrule's backstory.
I'm not satisfied with it.
By the time of Breath of the Wild, tens of thousands of years after any other Zelda game, there appears to have been a resurgence of faith in the goddess Hylia. However, the original 3 golden goddesses haven't been forgotten. We can see the symbols of
For 2 months, many of you have been trying desperately to convince me that I would like something that I was pretty confident I wouldn't. And like a stubborn child refusing to even try a head of broccoli, I stuck to my guns, crossed my arms and said, no thank you. I do not like green eggs and ham. And for 2 months, I'd been adamant that I will not watch the movie that blew up this summer, K-pop Demon Hunters. I saw, I think it was 2 of the trailers, maybe.
You need an upbeat. Inspirational song about life.
I fucking forgot about my green. It was too green. hoping. Now I am hoping that I'm like less than fucking 208 pounds. We'll see. You will fucking see. Enjoy. Brother. I don't fucking understand. I'm the rigger. That's me. Who's Kyle?
That's me,
Never
man.
mind.
What you know about Kyle? Yeah, that's me. Well,
Fair enough.
we're getting cooked there.
So is Kyle one of those E people y'all meet on that E site?
Oh god.
Oh my god.
What a this freaking Zoe sucks. Can I get a gank?
Are you feeling down? Like you just can't do it today?
I can see your frown, but it's all gonna be okay. So believe in yourself.
cigarettes are kind of like my escape. I can't use food. I really can't use all that much video games. Honestly, I didn't really like people my much, but it just feels wrong. Especially for what I got. Fuck, dude. Fuck! Am I terrible for doing that? Am I terrible for doing that? I'm terrible for a lot of other things that I do. Not for that. I mean, seriously. Who the fuck am I to ask if I'm a terrible person? Of course I'm a terrible person, brother. I don't think that should have ever been up for debate. I mean, really though. I am a good person. Sorta, kinda a good person at times, but like overall, nah. You delightful, to say the least. Just delightful would be the word I would personally use to describe how I feel about this meal I'm about to eat. I will just simply ignore that and hope that everything is in fact okay. Oh my gosh, it tastes so good. Magical, magical period. All that matters is that I'm eating according to my diet. I really, really, really need to eventually start watching my macros and what I'm eating, how many protein, how much carbs, all that lovely shit. Eat healthy, eat clean, have a cheat day like a couple times a month. Call it good from there. You know, continue to set up days that you can hang out with Nick and Reno just to fuck off and do other dumb shit. You know, because oh no, oh no. First of all, you gave me. Okay, you gave random strangers my personal identification. My personal identification information. Personal identification. Okay, I don't know who these people are. I don't know if they're psychopaths. You could track my name down on Facebook. There I am. Oh, there's my mother, because she posts literally everything. Then you find my mother. And then my mother has subsequently died because you wanted to give complete strangers